Warrior Lore. Chapter 2291. The Beast King's voice was like thunder. As his voice fell, a giant-like battle servant behind him walked into the arena with an astonishing aura. "Kid, you're going to lose for sure." The giant-like battle servant directly attacked. With a punch, even the void was distorted. Crackling sounds could be heard in the air. Du Xiaofu once again stumbled and fled in a sorry state. His aura weakened continuously. More and more people gathered around to watch. It was so crowded that not even a drop of water could trickle through. The stakes here were too big, to the point of losing everything. It was too attractive. The battles of the other battle servants seemed very pale and did not have any attraction. In the end, only the battle between Du Xiaofu and the giant-like battle servant was left in the entire arena. And in the end, Du Xiaofu won again despite being injured. Just like that, under the instigation of the little tiger, another beast king came up to bet with everything they had. Du Xiaofu's face was deathly pale, and there were even traces of blood on his body. It was as if he was truly an arrow at the end of its flight. This caused many people to feel a great sense of hope. The pile of treasures was growing larger and larger. And so, the battles continued. Du Xiaofu was in a sorry state. He wandered around the arena, not daring to fight head-on. But in the end, Du Xiaofu could find his opponent's mistakes every time. Just like that, he won 18 rounds in a row miraculously. Everyone was stunned and secretly gasped. 18 rounds. There were already a bunch of Chinkuan bags in front of the little tiger. There were probably close to 100 saint weapons, several half-saint medicines, precious medicines, spirit medicines, magic weapons, cultivation methods, martial skills, and so on. There were already too many to count. If all these treasures were poured out of the Chinkuan bags, it would probably be enough to pile up into a small mountain. This is going to be interesting. There's a battle servant who is very extraordinary. He won many rounds in a row and won close to 100 saint weapons. That battle servant is very special. He won more than 10 rounds in a row and always won in the end. In the entire city, this news had quietly spread and attracted many people. Many people were rushing over, all wanting to see the battle servant who won more than 10 rounds in a row. Is there anyone else who wants to continue? As long as you can win, everything is yours. The little tiger shouted loudly. The multicolored light in front of it fluctuated, and the Chinkuan pouches piled up. Is that battle servant faking it? Some demonic beast experts secretly turned their gazes, wondering if the battle servant had intentionally concealed his strength to trick them. It doesn't seem like it. I've already probed it. That battle servant is at the domain realm. A demonic beast expert solemnly swore that he had the means to spy on everything. That battle servant's aura couldn't escape his detection. Humph, I don't believe it. Some of the demonic beast kings could no longer hold themselves back. The pile of treasures before them was a huge temptation to everyone present. But in the end, the battle servant of the demonic beast king continued to be defeated. Bang, bang, bang. After that, more demonic beast kings continued to place their bets. They wanted to use a small bet to win a big one. The other party was continuously draining their energy, and their chances of winning were too high. However, after another 20 matches, the number of Chinkuan pouches in front of the little tiger increased, and the number of treasures increased as well. However, there was still no battle servant who could win. 38 consecutive victories. What the hell is going on? The place was now filled with a sea of people. All the living beings in the city had been attracted to this place. Originally, such a bet wouldn't have attracted the attention of the entire city. However, with 38 consecutive matches added together, the pile of Chinkuan pouches was enough to tempt even a Saint Beast expert. A battle servant who had won 38 consecutive matches was unrivaled. This was enough to shock the entire city. You're faking it well. Indeed, I have to say that even I almost believed you. Suddenly, such a voice was heard. It wasn't loud, but it reverberated in all directions. It had imperceptibly covered all the other noises in the place, and it clearly fell into everyone's ears. Numerous gazes immediately turned towards the source of the voice. Many figures walked out from there, and the crowd automatically parted to let them pass. The person in the lead was a handsome young man with a nose like an eagle's hook. His facial features were distinct, and he wore a tight-fitting long robe with a bronze cloak draped over his shoulders. He appeared tall and slender. Many monster kings followed behind the young man, and there were also piles of battle servants. An invisible wave of aura permeated the air, causing the atmosphere in the entire square to suddenly become oppressive. It was as if a huge rock had suddenly pressed down on one's chest. "It's Lord Zhanlan." When everyone saw the cloaked young man, their expressions immediately changed. Some monster kings lowered their heads and saluted. Zhanlan. In the square, Du Xiaofu's gaze moved without leaving a trace. From the information he had gathered along the way, Zhanlan was from the Gulen Heavenly Condor clan. He was ranked 9th among the younger generation of the Beast Alliance. Is Lord Zhanlan going to let his battle servant take action? It seems that the mysterious battle servant in the square is strange. Lord Zhanlan saw through it. Everyone was secretly discussing. At this time, Lord Zhanlan's arrival undoubtedly caused the crowd to be even more excited and expectant. Little Tiger looked at Zhanlan, but there wasn't much change in his expression. He raised his eyebrows and looked straight at Zhanlan. "You want to bet too? You're quite brave." Zhanlan looked at Little Tiger and smiled faintly. At the same time, he looked at Qingwan, Shaoqing, Dai Xingyu, and Ouyang Shuang. On the other hand, the middle-aged battle servant from the Baifeng Divine Bird clan turned pale when he saw Zhanlan. They didn't know how to end the day. These lords were too good at causing trouble. If they knew this would happen, they wouldn't have brought them down the mountain. Don't talk about whether it's useful or not. If you want to bet, then place your bet. If you can't, then leave. Xiaohu shot a glance at Zhanlan. His deep, dark eyes did not seem to mind at all. Tian, Little Xingxing, Du Xiaoyao, Mo Tianxiao, and Dugu Fenshin were all together. Even if Zhanlan's aura was above his, he couldn't pressure Little Tiger at all. Presumptuous. Behind Zhanlan, a few battle servants shouted and their auras surged out. "It's not your turn to be arrogant. If you have the ability, then go up and fight with my battle servant." Little Tiger also shouted. The sound waves rolled up the space. It was as if a tiger's roar was deafening. The sound waves swept over and made people's eardrums hurt. "Do you know who I am?" Hearing Little Tiger's words, it was the first time someone looked down on him. Zhanlan's face gradually darkened. "I'm not interested. If your battle servant can defeat my battle servant, then I might be interested to know who you are. If you don't dare, then don't block others." Little Tiger said. "Haha, that's right. If you have the ability, then bet. Otherwise, don't block others." The laughter was long and drawn out. Another person came forward with great momentum. The crowd was in an uproar, and the onlookers automatically made way. The crowd looked and saw another young man walk out from the crowd. This young man wasn't tall. He was slightly fat and had a slightly hunched back. However, his eyes were vast and deep like black holes. The young man's body exuded a faint icy aura. With his arrival, the temperature of the entire field seemed to have dropped a lot. Behind this young man were the monster kings and battle servants. They wouldn't be any weaker than Zhanlan. Xin Tu, what's the meaning of this? When Zhanlan saw this hunchbacked young man, his expression didn't look too good. He already said that if you don't dare or can't afford to bet, then make way. Other people don't have the obligation to know who you are. Don't think that the entire Beast Alliance must know who you are. If you have the ability to take the position of commander, then the entire Beast Alliance will know who you, Zhanlan, are. Unfortunately, the hunchbacked young man looked at Zhanlan with a half-smile. There was no fear in his eyes. He paused for a moment and then said faintly, "You, Zhanlan, don't seem to have the ability to fight for the position of commander. Xin Tu, you want to fight ahead of time?" Zhanlan's expression darkened completely. His eyes glowed brightly and his aura surged. "Zhanlan, I think Xin Tu is right this time. If you want to bet, then do it. If you don't dare, then make way. Don't take up the space." A rugged young man swept down from the crowd and landed on the ground. His aura was like that of a lion. He glanced around, and the corners of his mouth curled into a tyrannical smirk. In the crowd, many figures flew over and landed beside the boorish young man. Their auras were vast and powerful. Lord Xiaogu, Lord Xin Tu. Heavens, I didn't expect Xin Tu and Xiaogu to come. The entire square was in an uproar. Many people trembled inwardly. Xin Tu, Xiaogu. Du Xiaofu stood on the square and looked indifferently at Xin Tu and Xiaogu. Xin Tu was the leader of the Black Ice Tortoise race and ranked 8th among the younger generation of the Beast Alliance. Xiaogu was the leader of the Howling Lion race and ranked 7th among the younger generation of the Beast Alliance. Du Xiaofu took another look at Xiaogu. It was said that during this period of time, Xiaogu had been asking around about him, wanting to subdue him as a battle servant. How lively! As more people came, the crowd automatically parted to make a path for them. A group of people walked over unhurriedly. This time, Du Xiaofu, Ouyang Shuang, Little Tiger and the others were very familiar with them. They raised their brows inwardly. At the front was a slender, handsome young man with a pair of dark brown eyes that shone with a charming luster. Who else could it be but Qing Long of the 8 Desolation demonic dragon race? Behind Qing Long were several young men and women with extraordinary auras, as well as no less than 30 battle servants. They all had extraordinary auras. The arrival of Qing Long and the others surprised Xiaogu, Xin Tu, and Zhanlan. But Qing Long's gaze fell on Du Xiaofu. His eyes were a little complicated, but he didn't say anything. Du Xiaofu also glanced at Qing Long. He had seen Qing Long in front of the ancient ruins. He had also come to the Bai Fong divine bird race. Suddenly, Du Xiaofu's gaze looked behind the crowd. In the distance, on top of a towering ancient pavilion, several figures quietly appeared. The beautiful figure in the lead had a graceful figure with a head full of fiery red hair that cascaded down her shoulders to her slender waist. She was dressed in tight clothes, and her lower body was curvy. Her eyes were pitch black and lively. It was Xiao Yao. Chapter 2292. Qing Long, Xiaogu, Xin Tu, Zhanlan. These supremes are all here. Oh my God, this is going to be interesting. Are they going to let their battle servants fight? When these supreme martial artists, who were famous in the entire Beast Alliance, appeared, the entire square was in an uproar. These supreme prodigies would only appear during the Beast Alliance conference. But they actually appeared here today. How could they not be shocked and excited? Everyone present knew very well that the battle servants before every Beast Alliance meeting were actually the battle servants of these supreme prodigies. Especially on the day before the Beast Alliance meeting, the Supreme's battle servants would appear. There would be intense battles, and the stakes would be high. To a certain extent, this was a secret confrontation between these supreme geniuses. Whichever battle servant emerged victorious in the end would be able to make a name for himself. But now, these Supremes had appeared for this mysterious battle servant before the Beast Alliance meeting. How could they not be shocked and excited? Xin Tu and Xiaogu also secretly looked at Qing Long. They didn't expect this guy to come too. Who else wants to bet? It's going to be night soon. There's no time. Little Tiger's gaze swept across the supreme being geniuses one after another. He was still fearless as he shouted loudly. The sunset glow covered the sky. The sun was about to set. After these dozens of battles, the sky was about to turn dark. You're purposely hiding your strength. Then I'll fulfill your wish. A stalk of sacred medicine and everything in front of you. Zhanlan said. Xiaogu, Xin Tu, and Qing Long were all here. He couldn't back down. Besides, Zhanlan had come here intentionally. It was said that there were more than 100 saint weapons in this Qinkuan bag, many half-step sacred medicines, and countless other treasures. Even a saint beast realm expert couldn't resist such temptation. Naturally, he was very interested. But Zhanlan didn't expect Qing Long, Xin Tu, and Xiaogu to come. Obviously, Xiaogu, Xin Tu, and the others also came with this idea. He couldn't let them take advantage of him. You want to bet all the treasures in front of me with a stalk of sacred medicine? At least 2 stalks of sacred medicine. If not, go home and take them. Little Tiger didn't hold back. You! Zhanlan gritted his teeth. If this pile of treasures was really as rumored, then there were several half-saint medicines, over 100 saint tools, and many other treasures. One saint medicine was indeed a little less, but it was only a little less. If it was a saint medicine of a higher grade, it would definitely be enough. Even if it was just an ordinary saint medicine, it wouldn't be to the extent of 2 saint medicines. This guy actually dared to make such an exorbitant demand. Good, good, good. Jean Lan's expression was gloomy. He stared at the little tiger and said good 3 times. His voice seemed to come out from the gaps of his teeth as he said in a low voice, I will fulfill your wish. 2 stalks of sacred medicine. But if you lose, all of your battle servants will also belong to me. When Jean Lan finished speaking, he took out 2 simple brocade boxes from his chinkuan bag and opened them. Boom! The instant the brocade box was opened, 2 rays of light overflowed into the sky. The mysterious runes of the talisman covered the sky and covered the sunset glow, making it seem as if the sun was shining in the sky. 2 rich fragrances accompanied by monstrous energy swept out. Buzz! Heaven and earth trembled, and the sound of wind and thunder could be heard. It was like the sound of heaven. Heaven and earth changed, and energy overflowed into the sky. The entire city shook, and countless gazes looked over from afar. An obscure aura also immediately and quietly descended. Saint Medicine, 2 types of Saint Medicine. Oh my God, this is the first time I've seen Saint Medicine. If I can get a stalk of Saint Medicine, it will be enough for me to improve immediately. When the 2 brocade boxes were opened, 2 waves of energy surged into the sky, causing heaven and earth to change. The atmosphere in the entire square also reached its boiling point. The sound waves gathered and uncontrollably rose into the sky, shaking the entire city. At this moment, it was as if the curtains of the Beast Alliance meeting had been lifted. Sky Sun Scarlet Heart Fruit, Purple Gold Blood Lingji Mushroom. When such Saint Medicine appeared, Qing Long, Xiao Gu, and Xin Tu's expressions changed. Jean Lan actually had 2 stalks of Saint Medicine on him. Looking at the Sky Sun Scarlet Heart Fruit and Purple Gold Blood Lingji Mushroom in the brocade box in Jean Lan's hand, the little tiger's pitch-black eyes began to shine. With a smile on his face, he said, Deal. As long as your battle servants win, all of them are yours. Great. Jean Lan sneered. He closed the brocade box and threw it on top of the chinkuan bags piled up not far from the little tiger. He could feel that the battle servant in the square was not weak. He had been deliberately hiding his strength and had cheated many people of their treasures. Moreover, the 2 female battle servants beside the black-robed young man seemed to be not simple either. Therefore, Jean Lan wanted to win against the 3 battle servants as well. Go! Raising his hand and waving it behind him, Jean Lan signaled one of the battle servants behind him to attack. Jean Lan knew that the battle servant in the square had been hiding his strength, but he did not believe that the battle servant in the square could defeat his battle servant. Yes, master. A battle servant walked out from behind Jean Lan. He looked to be in his 30s and had a powerful aura. His eyes were bright. Boom! When the battle servant stepped onto the square, a powerful aura swept out. Kid, don't hide anymore. Show me your full strength. Otherwise, you won't even be able to take one move. The battle servant's voice was low, and there was a sense of superiority in it. As Jean Lan's most valued battle servant, he had a special status in the Gulen Heavenly Condor clan. This battle servant was not simple. He could tell that Du Xiaofu had been deliberately hiding his true strength. Du Xiaofu remained unmoved when facing the combat servant, and his gaze was calm. However, a strand of surging aura within his body was like an awakened ferocious beast, and it gradually effused out. As his aura effused out, a strand of formidable, profound energy silently surged out, shot into the sky, and shook the heavens and the earth. Boom! The void trembled and the aura surged. At this moment, Du Xiaofu's aura had clearly reached the domain realm. His face was no longer pale and had regained its color. His aura was no longer weak, and he stood like a powerful, ferocious beast. This battle servant has really been hiding his strength. He's at the domain realm. Bastard, shameless, this guy lied to us. When Du Xiaofu released the aura of the domain realm, everyone was dumbfounded. Those demonic beast kings who had lost everything vomited blood and cursed loudly. That master and servant had been tricking them all this time, pretending to be an arrow at the end of its flight. They had been baiting them step by step. Domain realm, this is your true strength. Unfortunately, there's a huge gap between the same level of domain realm. The expression of the battle servant did not change in the face of the domain stage aura that Du Xiaofu had released at this moment. With a cold laugh, a surging aura that was not the slightest bit inferior to the former erupted like a volcano, accompanied by the rumbling sound of wind and thunder as it whizzed out. Everyone could feel that this aura was even more powerful than the former. When this aura filled the square and thunder rumbled, a smile appeared on Zhang Lan's face. If Zhang Lan wanted to take that pile of treasures, it would be worth a lot. It was comparable to almost 2 Saint Herbs. I'll let you make the first move. Zhang Lan's battle servant stared at Du Xiaofu with an overbearing aura. How noisy! Du Xiaofu spoke as he stomped his foot on the ground. A strand of powerful, profound energy instantly erupted with him at the center, and his aura surged to the point it caused the hearts of others to tremble. With Du Xiaofu's ability, strength, and the miraculous disguise technique, it was extremely easy for him to conceal his profound energy, causing others to be unable to discern any clues or sense the aura of the golden-winged rocks. However, when Du Xiaofu's aura was released at this moment, those beast kings who'd lost everything felt like crying but had no tears to shed, and they cursed endlessly in their hearts. If they knew this battle servant was so strong, they wouldn't have bet on it. Swish! Du Xiaofu made a move. He formed seals with his hands, and then he slapped out with his palm. It was swift like a bolt of lightning. Oomph! The battle servant didn't dare be careless when he saw this. A yellow-colored storm of profound energy erupted directly and shot into the sky. It even carried the aura of lightning, causing lightning to descend from the sky, and it caused the hearts of others to tremble. Zhang Lan's battle servant is so formidable. The spectators couldn't help but exclaim with shock. Needless to say, Zhang Lan's battle servant was very strong. Boom! Zhang Lan's battle servant made a move. He didn't retreat when facing Du Xiaofu, and instead, he advanced. An energy beam accompanied by fluctuations of lightning suddenly swept out, pierced through the void, and collided with Du Xiaofu's palm. In merely an instant, it arrived before Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu's palm changed, and his 5 fingers curled into a claw. The void in front of him suddenly distorted, and he directly avoided the energy beam. At the same time, the claw was already in front of the battle servant. The battle servant's face sank, and his figure swiftly dodged in an inconceivable arc. Then, he smashed a fist towards Du Xiaofu's chest. Thus, the two of them entered an intense confrontation. Bang! Bang! Occasionally, a muffled sound like thunder would ring out. The two of them violently collided, and both of them were forced to retreat. However, everyone could feel that Zhang Lan's battle servant was slightly superior. After exchanging over 100 blows, Du Xiaofu was suppressed, but he wasn't completely suppressed. Zhang Lan's battle servant didn't want to continue fighting. He activated his martial vein, and the void shook. His aura surged. Du Xiaofu made a move. Many beasts activated their martial veins, but they were firmly suppressed. Their aura grew weaker, and their faces paled. They looked more and more miserable. Boom! The middle-aged battle servant made a move. Under the suppression of his martial vein, his fist carried the power of his trump card, and it landed heavily on Du Xiaofu's chest. At that moment, many demonic beast experts could clearly see that the battle servant was probably going to lose this time. However, just as everyone thought that Du Xiaofu was about to lose, another unforeseen event occurred. Just as the fist landed on Du Xiaofu's chest, a treasured saber appeared in Du Xiaofu's hand, and it also pierced through Zhang Lan's battle servant's chest. Swish! Blood spurted out. The two of them were on the verge of breaking out. Zhang Lan's battle servant spat out blood, and his chest was dripping with blood. He was directly pierced through, and his face instantly turned ashen. Du Xiaofu staggered back a dozen steps. His face was also pale. He stamped his foot on the ground, and only then did he stabilize his body. Chapter 2293. You tricked me. Zhang Lan's battle servant pointed at Du Xiaofu and said. At this moment, Only the battle servant himself knew that the blade didn't take his life. It had avoided his vitals, but a terrifying force had seriously injured him to the point where he couldn't fight anymore. Jeanlin's battle servant fell to the ground powerlessly. The terrifying force in that blade had even injured his primordial spirit. It was too terrifying. Jeanlin's battle servant has lost. Sigh. He was too careless. Lord Jeanlin's battle servant is stronger, but he was too careless. If he had used his vain spirit and weapon, he would have won for sure. That brat is so cunning. He fought with his life on the line, but secretly used his weapon. It's probably a half-step sacred tool. He won against Lord Jeanlin's battle servant. After a short silence, the surroundings were in an uproar. Many people felt that Jeanlin's battle servant was too careless. If he had used his vain spirit and weapon, he definitely wouldn't have been taken advantage of and wouldn't have lost to the battle servant. At this moment, Jeanlin was also in a daze. He saw with his own eyes that the other party's battle servant didn't hide anything this time, but still won. His battle servant was obviously careless. Otherwise, he wouldn't have given the other party a chance. Haha, I said that my battle servant is invincible. Sacred medicine. I'm rich. I'm rich today. Little Tiger laughed loudly. He really couldn't help but laugh. He won another 2 sacred medicines. This was a big deal. If this was outside, he wouldn't have the chance to cheat like this. Only the beast race here had a lot of saint herbs and saint artifacts. Hearing Little Tiger's laughter, Jeanlin's face darkened. Not only did he lose the sacred medicine, but he also lost face. Ouyang Shuang and Dai Xingyu looked at each other and secretly smiled. They originally thought that Du Xiaofu had nothing better to do, but now that they saw that he even won the sacred medicine, they realized that this guy and Little Tiger were singing the same tune. This was simply a robbery. It was even safer and faster than robbing. Is there anyone else who wants to bet? This is the last chance. Is there anyone else who dares to go up? Little Tiger shouted loudly, hoping to win some more sacred herbs and sacred artifacts. You're not exchanging your battle servant? Xian Tu asked Little Tiger, his eyes flashing. Of course. My battle servant is invincible. Of course I'm not exchanging it, Little Tiger vowed. I only have 1 sacred medicine. I will bet. Your celestial sun scarlet fruit. However, my sacred medicine is heaven's sun scarlet is heaven's sun's. Is? Xian Tu looked at Little Tiger, as if Xian Tu seemed Tu's no. Xian's. Xian's God's God. Xian. You has Xian God. Hearing Little Tiger's words, Xian Tu's expression darkened. He originally wanted to take advantage of Little Tiger, but now it seemed that the other party wasn't stupid. Little Tiger paused and looked at Xian Tuesday. How about this? It's getting dark. Let's make the bet a bit bigger. You take out all your Chinkuan bags. I don't know how many there are in them, but if you win, everything in front of me will belong to you, including the battle servant. If you lose, everything in your Chinkuan bag will belong to me. Little Tiger stared at Xian Tu, afraid that Xian Tu would secretly take something out of his Chinkuan bag. This? Xian Tu hesitated. He thought that the other party didn't want to bet anymore. He didn't expect that the other party wanted to raise the stakes. There were many treasures in his Chinkuan bags. So you're scared. The other party is pretty much exhausted. You don't dare. Jeanlin said, looking at Xian Tuesday. He wanted to regain some face. Does your heart ache from losing? I'll win it back for you. Xian Tu rolled his eyes at Jeanlin. Looking at Little Tiger, he seemed to have made up his mind. He took out several Chinkuan bags and tossed them onto the pile of Chinkuan bags. Then it's a deal. Lord Xian Tu also wants to bet. Lord Xian Tu had also placed a bet. Could that mysterious battle servant still win? Okay, it's a deal. Little Tiger nodded, smiling from the bottom of his heart. Boom. A tall and straight silhouette flew out, floating in the air like duckweed in the water. Then, he landed on the square, and an incomparably powerful aura swept out. This was a middle-aged man. His appearance was unremarkable and his figure wasn't tall, but the powerful aura he exuded made it so that no one dared to underestimate him. There was no doubt that Xian Tu's battle servant was no weaker than Jeanlin's battle servant. It was no wonder Xian Tu dared to place such a large bet. Boom. Xian Tu's battle servant stepped onto the stage. Without a word, he leapt forward, his peak domain realm aura completely unreserved as he lunged at Du Xiaofu. As he leapt forward, he activated his martial vein and covered his entire body in talisman inscriptions. He punched out. The punch of this combat servant seemed to have merged with his martial vein. It shone brilliantly and dazzlingly, causing the surrounding space to distort as rays of light spread out. They were like flashing lightning, emitting crackling sounds as they pierced through space. At this moment, the battle servant's aura was extraordinary. His body was wrapped in light, his aura surging like a flood. His punch was like a thunderclap. The battle servant used his full strength, even fusing with his martial vein. He didn't show the slightest bit of carelessness. He wanted to kill Du Xiaofu and destroy him, not defeat him. He didn't want his master Xian Tu to accept this battle servant. A defeated opponent wasn't worthy of being his companion. Peak Domain Realm. This is his true strength. He's definitely going to win. Lord Xian Tu's battle servant is too strong. That guy's definitely going to lose. The crowd paled. It turned out that Xian Tu's battle servant was this strong. Peak Domain Realm, even many of the monster kings present would find it difficult to deal with him. Xian Tu was ranked 8th among the younger generation of the Beast Alliance, and his battle servant was also this strong. Zhanlan also paled. It was clear that Xian Tu's battle servant was much stronger than his. If Xian Tu won, not only would he gain great benefits, his reputation would also soar. Swish. Du Xiaofu attacked. His hands formed a seal, his eyes flashing with light. A vast wave of origin spirit energy swept out, intimidating the divine soul. 9-star Lord Domain Realm Peak Talisman Master, Dual Cultivation Battle Servant. Xian Tu's face paled as he cried out in alarm, but it was too late. An inconceivable change took place. Xian Tu's battle servant's terrifying attacks suddenly stopped, and for some reason, his eyes went blank. At practically the exact same moment, everyone clearly noticed that Du Xiaofu's figure had appeared before the combat servant, and then the profound energy within his body surged explosively as his fist smashed down forcefully onto the combat servant's forehead. Boom! There was a dull thud as the battle servant's body exploded into a bloody mist, starting from the head. The battle servant had used a killing move from the get-go, merciless and vicious. Du Xiaofu hadn't wanted to take the battle servant's life. He had only wanted to defeat them one by one. But now, he showed no mercy to Xian Tu's battle servant, killing him at just the right moment. The entire place was silent. Everyone was dumbfounded. Huff! After a long while, the sound of cold air being sucked in could be heard. No one had expected this result. They had thought that Xian Tu's battle servant's victory was assured, but he had been instantly killed in the final blow. A talisman master, a nascent spirit attack. That battle servant hid his strength well. A peak 9-star Lord Domain Realm Talisman Master. That's the battle servant's true strength. Some of the beast race experts saw through the clues. The battle servant was a peak 9-star Lord Domain Realm Talisman Master. His nascent spirit attack had caught Xian Tu's battle servant off guard and instantly killed him. Qing Long watched quietly from the side. He was not too surprised. He had known that the battle servant was a dual cultivator. Qing Long wasn't surprised that Xian Tu's battle servant had been defeated, but he was still shocked. Xiao Gu, on the other hand, was rather surprised. Haha, thank you for letting me win. The little tiger laughed without restraint. Xian Tu's cosmos pouches probably contained a lot of good stuff. At the very least, there should be some saint-level herbs. Xian Tu's face was ashen. He had thought that victory was almost certain. His battle servant had used a killing move right off the bat and hadn't been careless in the slightest, but he had still been tricked. The opponent's battle servant was a talisman master. Anyone would be affected by a nascent spirit attack if they were caught off guard. Xian Tu had bet everything he had. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but want to vomit blood. His heart was pounding. I don't think anyone will dare to continue. As the little tiger spoke, he was about to put away all the cosmos pouches and saint-level herbs. Hold on. Does your battle servant dare to continue? These words came out of Xiao Gu's mouth. He looked at Xiao, who with a faint fighting spirit surging in his eyes. This? The little tiger hesitated, as if he didn't want to continue. There are 2 saint herbs, 6 saint artifacts, and quite a few half-saint herbs in the Cosmos sack. There are also quite a few priceless ancient blood essences. If you fight again and win, everything in my Cosmos sack will belong to you. But if you lose, I only want half of the things in front of you, and that battle servant as well. Xiao Gu's eyes lit up. He took out a lot of Cosmos pouches and looked at the little tiger. This bet isn't ordinary. Everyone was shocked. Xiao Gu's bet wasn't ordinary. 2 saint-level herbs, 6 saint-level weapons, half-saint-level herbs, and ancient essence blood. Any one of them was a great treasure. Hearing this, the little tiger looked at the Cosmos pouch in Xiao Gu's hand. His eyes lit up and he clenched his teeth. He nodded and said to Xiao Gu, "Deal." "Good." Xiao Gu smiled and threw the Cosmos pouch over. He looked back and said, "Go. I want that battle servant alive." Chapter 2294. Yes, Master. A figure walked out from behind Xiao Gu. He looked to be in his 40s and wore a battle robe. His eyes were deep and bright as he leapt onto the square. Boom! When the battle servant stepped onto the stage, a vast and mighty aura was released in an instant. It surged through the void, and even the square that was protected by the seal shook. Master Domain. When the battle servant's aura was released, everyone exclaimed, "The aura of a Master Domain." That battle servant had actually reached the Master Domain realm. How powerful was he? Not many of the monster kings present could do anything to him. Zhanlan was also shocked. He hadn't expected the battle servant to be so strong. Although the mysterious battle servant was a rare dual cultivator, after several consecutive battles, he probably had no chance of winning. However, when he saw Xian Tu's battle servant defeated in one move, Zhanlan felt much better. But when he thought of the sacred elixirs he had lost, he wanted to vomit blood. It would be difficult to explain himself when he returned to his clan. This is big trouble. The middle-aged battle servant from the Bai Fong Divine Bird clan who had been following them had a solemn expression. These people should have retreated after winning so many treasures. But now, Ancient Zhao's battle servant was a master realm expert. Boom! Xiao Gu's battle servant didn't say anything and directly attacked. The profound energy in his body surged, and he instantly launched an attack. He stepped forward and stretched out his hand. Mysterious runes rushed out, crushing the void as he tried to suppress Du Xiaofu. Boom! As the battle servant attacked, a strange mist gushed out from the surrounding void. The sound of wind and thunder shook the square. The battle servant knew that Du Xiaofu was a spirit talisman master and was afraid of spirit attacks, so he chose to attack at close range. He wanted to suppress Du Xiaofu first. However, at this moment, Du Xiaofu did not bat an eyelid. His hands were already glowing brilliantly, and at the same time, his hand seals had already been successfully condensed. Dazzling array flags shot out, and the mysterious runes on them were dazzling as they soared into the sky. Rumble. Immediately afterwards, the plaza released a loud noise that sounded like thunder. It was world-shaking, erupting with resplendent radiance. At this moment, everyone was shocked. That terrifying aura was shocking. It was like a bolt of lightning had suddenly descended. The violent fluctuations in the sky trembled because of it. Dazzling runes suddenly spread throughout the sky, causing the entire space to rumble and tremble. A powerful symbol array appeared, instantly shrouding Ancient Zhao's battle servant. Endless rune energy distorted space, and finally, the symbol array covered the sky. High in the sky, the clouds surged, and the world darkened. 9-star domain peak talisman array, an illusion array. Xiao Gu's expression immediately changed. That battle servant was a spirit talisman master and an even lesser array master. What he used was the strangest illusion array. This illusory formation is extraordinary. As the talisman array appeared, countless gazes were filled with astonishment. Some of the beasts understood that this talisman array was definitely not ordinary. That battle servant is actually a talisman master. The surrounding people discussed animatedly and their expressions changed. No one had expected that at the last moment, the battle servant would actually set up such a powerful illusory formation. He was a talisman master that was the most difficult to provoke among talisman masters. Talisman Array. The middle-aged battle servant of the Bai Fong Divine Bird Clan was pleasantly surprised at this moment. His nervous gaze fluctuated with excitement. When the illusory formation appeared, the light shone in all directions and soared into the sky. It even attracted the attention of many obscure auras. Du Xiaofu's figure also disappeared in the illusory formation. The surrounding space distorted, and the bright light covered all the prying eyes. Bang, bang, bang. As a few muffled sounds came from the illusory formation, the talisman array began to dissipate, and the powerful aura slowly dissipated. Two figures appeared in the field. Under everyone's gaze, Du Xiaofu's figure was shaken back. For some reason, his face was pale, and there seemed to be a faint trace of blood at the corner of his mouth. He seemed to be forcefully swallowing. What's going on? Who won? It seems that Lord Ancient Zhao's battle servant won. That talisman array couldn't do anything to him. Many gazes around were very surprised. They couldn't see anything inside the talisman array. Bang! Just as the voice fell, Ancient Zhao's battle servant directly fell to the ground. Blood flowed from his mouth. He struggled several times but couldn't get up again. He won again. Everyone exclaimed. That mysterious battle servant actually won again. This was too shocking. Even Lord Ancient Zhao's battle servant had won. It was unbelievable. He won. He won again. The middle-aged battle servant from the Bai Fong Divine Bird Clan were boiling with excitement. However, Ancient Zhao's face was green and red. He clearly felt that victory was in his grasp, but he didn't expect the battle servant to throw out an illusory formation in the end. With Ancient Zhao's cultivation, he naturally understood that the battle servant had relied on the illusory formation to directly defeat his battle servant. Although his battle servant was by no means weak and had counterattacked at the last moment, under the influence of the illusory formation, his strength was greatly affected. In the end, he should have been able to heavily injure the former, but he himself was heavily injured and defeated. Sorry, I won again. The little tiger laughed. He walked to the pile of chinquin pouches and brocade boxes with Saint Herbs in front of him. His eyes lit up, and he kept saying, "Today's luck isn't bad. There are so many Saint Herbs and Saint artifacts. I've struck it rich." Looking at the little tiger, everyone's eyes were red. Everyone reckoned that at this moment, the guy had already won a lot of saintly medicines. A single saintly medicine was enough to tempt even a Saint Beast tier elite, let alone so many saintly medicines, as well as so many saint tools and precious treasures. However, no one dared to snatch it. This was the Bai Fong Divine Bird Clan, and the battle servant had a long history of gambling. If anyone dared to snatch it, the entire Beast Alliance wouldn't let them off. In the face of such a great temptation, they could only endure it in the Bai Fong Divine Bird Clan. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to walk out of the Bai Fong Divine Bird Clan. Come back. That's all for today. The little tiger said to Du Xiaofu. His eyes secretly turned, and he was about to put away the pile of chinquin pouches and treasures in front of him. Wait. At this moment, Qinglong spoke. He looked at the little tiger and said, "You've been hiding your strength. You've won so much. Let's fight again." It's getting dark. If you want to fight, wait until tomorrow. The little tiger shook his head and refused to fight again. It won't take long. Otherwise, it won't make sense for you to leave after winning so much, Qinglong said. He looked around and said, "Ask the various clans if they'll let you leave. You can't just leave. You've won against all of us by hiding your strength. How can you just leave? You have to fight again." With Qinglong's call, loud shouts could be heard from the surroundings. The crowd was riled up, and they couldn't bear to see that guy leave after winning so many treasures. The little tiger looked around and didn't want to provoke the crowd. He looked at Qinglong and said, "What do you want? Your battle servant wants to fight again?" "That's right. Let's have the last fight," Qinglong said with a faint smile. On his handsome face, there was a pair of dark brown eyes that shone with a charming luster. He saw clearly that the battle servant was severely injured in the illusory array. He was truly at the end of his rope. The pile of treasures and sacred elixirs was practically a treasure trove. He definitely couldn't let it go. The stakes are extraordinarily high now. The little tiger stared at Qing Long and said, I have 3 sacred fruits, 10 sacred weapons, and a portion of ancient dragon's blood. Their value is not lower than a sacred fruit. I have many other treasures as well. You can take as many as you want. You can check them. Moreover, I must have your battle servant. Qing Long took out a few Qinkuan bags. Oh gosh, Qing Long has so many treasures with him. As soon as Qing Long's voice fell, everyone was dumbfounded. Qing Long actually carried so many treasures with him. I heard that Qing Long encountered a relic on his way here and obtained many treasures. These sacred elixirs and sacred weapons might have been obtained from the relic. Someone seemed to know something and pointed out some clues. Qing Long had obtained a great opportunity on his way here. Otherwise, no one would bring out so many treasures. Even Qing Long wouldn't dare to do so. All right. However, if you want to fight, you have to abide by my rules. I will bet on you and everyone around you, including the battle servant's Qinkuan bags. If you win, everything in front of me will be yours. If you lose, this will be the last round, and I'll leave with the treasures. Little Tiger stared at Qing Long with a serious expression in his deep, dark eyes. His gaze flickered with uncertainty. All right, no problem. Qing Long nodded. When he saw the flickering expression in the little tiger's eyes, he felt that the battle servant was truly at the end of his rope. However, Qing Long didn't want to miss the opportunity to subdue such a dual cultivation battle servant who was also an array talisman master. Take out your Qinkuan bags. When the time comes, I will give you all the treasures in your Qinkuan bags. Qing Long turned around and said to the kings behind him, Of course, we will support brother Qing Long. The beast kings that followed Qing Long were overjoyed. They took out all their Qinkuan bags and tossed them in front of Little Tiger one after another. Boom! At the same time, the void vibrated for no reason. A tall but extremely thin figure walked out from behind Qing Long. The figure was a little strange. He was wearing a long robe that fluttered in the wind like a long skirt. A terrifying aura emanated from his body. The person's face couldn't be seen clearly as the robe covered half of his head. As the figure took a few steps forward, it was as if the ground beneath his feet had shrunk into an inch. As he walked into the arena, the hood that covered his head was also lifted by the withered hand, revealing a sharp face. His eyes emitted a frightening cold light, and his face was withered and pale like a zombie. There were even a few long scars on his face. Old Man Dragon. Oh my God, it's Old Man Dragon. Old Man Dragon of the 8 Desolation Monster Dragon Tribe. It's actually this guy. When the person appeared, the surrounding gazes trembled. Who is this battle servant? Some of the younger kings were surprised as they didn't know Old Man Dragon. This person almost won the title of the strongest battle servant in the last Beast Alliance meeting. He has always been the top battle servant of the 8 Desolation Monster Dragon Tribe. After so many years, his strength should have improved a lot. An older generation of kings informed them of Old Man Dragon's identity. This doesn't seem to be against the rules. A young king whispered. According to the unwritten rules, the battle servant duels were usually between the younger generation. Battle servants who had cultivated for thousands of years or even longer were not allowed to participate. Don't talk nonsense. Some kings immediately whispered. Old Man Dragon had won so much and angered everyone. Coupled with Qing Long's identity, no one cared about this at this moment. Anyway, it was only an unwritten rule that didn't explicitly state it. Qing Long's eyes were mesmerizing as he smiled. Old Man Dragon's strength was enough to win. He had won a pile of sacred herbs and sacred weapons effortlessly. The harvest was even greater than exploring an ancient ruin. There was no need to worry about the great danger involved. Bastard! Zhanlan, Xiao Gu, Xin Tu, and the others had rather displeased expressions. In the end, Qing Long had actually taken advantage of them. Qing Long must have purposely allowed Old Man Dragon to hide and only attacked at the end. Kid, let's end this. Old Man Dragon didn't delay and attacked directly. Old Man Dragon had already seen Du Xiaofu and naturally wouldn't be polite. He formed a hand seal and stretched out his hand. A claw mark tore through the void and instantly extended towards Du Xiaofu. Chila, when such a claw mark swept out, the void was directly distorted like a fried dough twist. A wave of resplendent talisman runes rushed out like a wave. In the end, it condensed into the shadow of a dragon that rushed out with a roar, causing people to tremble. Ayo! The claw mark tore through the void like a dragon galloping. Dragon runes fluctuated, accompanied by dragon might. Rumble. The terrifying aura above the claw mark caused the world to tremble and rumble. There was a deafening dragon roar. The scene was shocking and terrifying. At this moment, Old Man Dragon didn't hold back his aura and swept out like a raging tide. He's almost at the peak of the Overlord realm. Old Man Dragon is so strong. When Old Man Dragon attacked, everyone exclaimed. Old Man Dragon was far more powerful than Xiao Gu's battle servant. At this moment, no one thought that the mysterious battle servant could still win. Old Man Dragon was just too strong. The claw mark tore through the void like a dragon claw and instantly swept towards Old Man Dragon. It was as if space was being torn apart, capable of destroying everything. Under such a claw mark, some people even thought that the mysterious battle servant was at the end of his tether and wouldn't be able to take a single blow. Only Little Tiger, Ouyang Shuang, Dai Xingyu, Qing Luan, and Xiao Qing weren't worried at all. Even Little Tiger was no longer solemn and had a smile on his face. Qing Long was full of confidence. The opportunity had finally arrived. The harvest this time was probably enough for him to take another step forward and have hope of stepping into the Saint Realm. Things don't look good. Suddenly, Qing Long looked at Little Tiger and the others. When he saw the relaxed expressions of the Little Tiger and the others without any worry, he felt a little uneasy. The smiles of those fellows caused Qing Long to feel an indescribable sense of unease in his heart. Everything happened very quickly. Du Xiaofu attacked. In the face of such a claw mark, Du Xiaofu stomped his foot on the ground of the square. An extremely ferocious aura soared into the sky at this moment. The ground of the square, which was reinforced by the seal, cracked continuously from the soles of his feet. Boom! At this moment, Du Xiaofu shook his arm and fiercely punched the claw mark that tore through the void. The mysterious runes of the talisman before the punch exploded. Chi waves rumbled like the stampede of 10,000 beasts. It was extremely terrifying and terrifying. At this moment, Du Xiaofu no longer looked weak. He had clearly climbed to the peak and his aura had reached a huge level. Boom! With a loud explosion, Chi waves surged into the sky. The mysterious runes of the talisman shattered like a tide. The muffled sound was deafening and made everyone tremble with fear. The fist and the claw collided, causing the surrounding void to explode. The terrifying Chi waves tore through a large area of the void as if they were going to shatter the world. At this moment, Qing Long's heart trembled violently. Puffed! In just a short moment, under everyone's gaze, Old Man Long spat out a mouthful of blood. His skinny body flew backward like a kite that had broken its string. He crashed into the square 100 feet away, causing the square to tremble. Old Man Long was dripping with blood. His right hand was badly mangled. It was a withered palm that had been shattered by the punch. Old Man Long wanted to get up, but he spat out another mouthful of blood and fainted. Old Man Long had been defeated in one move. Qing Long's eyes trembled and his feet trembled. He almost retreated. There were 3 saint fruits in his Qingkuan bag. There was also the blood essence of the ancient dragons, which was what Qing Long valued the most. The blood essence of the ancient dragons was what he urgently needed to improve his bloodline. But now, he had lost in the blink of an eye. The whole square was silent. Everyone was dumbfounded and could not recover from their shock for a long time. The middle-aged battle servant from the Bai Fong Divine Bird Clan had closed his eyes. When he sensed the silence around him, he slowly opened his eyes. When he saw the commotion in the square, a look of ecstasy appeared on his face. He could not help but exclaim, "We won! We won again!" It took a long time for the people around to recover from their shock. Some people wiped their eyes as if they could not believe what had happened. One move, another move. Old Man Long had been defeated in one move. How terrifying was that? Phew! Gasps could be heard one after another. This was too unbelievable. The mysterious battle servant had won again. Zhanlan, Xin Tu, Xiao Gu and the others were also shocked. They had thought that Qing Long was going to have an advantage. Who would have thought that old man Yin Long would be defeated in one move? Unable to withstand a single blow. Bastard, you tricked me. After a short silence, Qing Long could no longer remain calm. He glared at the little tiger and shouted. At this moment, no matter how stupid Qing Long was, he understood that this was a trap, a huge trap. That guy had been luring him to take the final bait. He had deliberately shown that he did not want to continue the battle and pretended to be in a difficult position. Even in the illusion array, he had deliberately pretended that he had been severely injured by Xiao Gu's battle servant. Everything was to lure him into this huge trap. Qing Long thought that victory was in his hands, but in the end, he had lost everything he had. A bet is a bet. A loss is a loss. Do you want to go back on your word? The little tiger stared at Qing Long, his dark eyes emitting a domineering light. Then, he raised his head slightly and looked at the void to one side. Under the cover of the sunset, his voice sounded, "Your Excellency, you have been watching for so long. It's time to come out. Let's have the final battle. Only your battle servant is qualified to have a real battle with my battle servant." When the little tiger said this, everyone's eyes suddenly turned to the little tiger. The sunset covered half the sky, but there was no figure on the towering city tower. But at this moment, only Xiao Gu, Qing Long, Xin Tu, Zhanlan, and the others were shocked. 2 chapters combined into one. There was a mistake in the previous chapter. Du Xiaofu should have pretended to be a 9-star domain talisman master, not a 9-star main domain talisman master. I'll correct it here. Xiao Yu apologizes for affecting the reading. Some readers say that these chapters are too long. Everyone, bear with it for 2 more chapters. It's mainly to pave the way for the next few chapters. There will be a hot-blooded plot soon. Xiao Yu, continue to write. I'll update it around midnight. Chapter 2295. Qi La. The sound of wind breaking resounded in the void as 2 figures flew out from the towering city tower. With just a flash, 2 figures landed on the field. They were 2 young men. When everyone's eyes fell on the young man in front, they suddenly trembled. The surrounding demonic beast kings also lowered their heads silently, not daring to look directly at him. Even Qing Long, Zhanlan, Xiao Gu, and Xin Tu lowered their heads respectfully when they saw the young man at the front. The young man in the lead had a slender figure. He had bright eyes and white teeth. His thin lips were as red as blood. His handsome face gave people a feeling of elegance, danger, and a little seductiveness. His aura was complicated and noble. As for the young man following beside him, he also had an extraordinary appearance. He wore a battle robe, had a valiant appearance, and had long hair that draped over his shoulders. His eyes were like stars. Luo Shang. A woman in the crowd couldn't help but voice out. The young man at the front caused all the gazes in the stadium to be thrown over. For no reason, the atmosphere of the entire stadium froze. Du Xiaofu's gaze also landed on the young man at the front. From his name, he knew the identity of this person. Luo Shang was ranked second among the top 10 experts of the younger generation in the Beast Alliance. She was the paragon of the distant Sky Flame Phoenix clan. Du Xiaofu informed the little tiger about Luo Shang's existence through telepathy. Luo Shang had been paying attention to them all this while. Although she had concealed her aura, she could not escape Du Xiaofu's detection. Not below Dugu Finshan and Dongli Ruashu. This was Du Xiaofu's evaluation of Luo Shang. Her aura was so well hidden that it was hard to detect. It wasn't that Du Xiaofu couldn't detect it, but he didn't dare to do so in the Baifeng Divine Bird Tribe. Luo Shang landed on the field and glanced at Du Xiaofu. Then, she looked at the little tiger and said, "I didn't expect the dark Heavenly Tiger clan to have so many talents." Luo Shang's voice was very pleasant to the ears, like a beautiful piece of music. He could feel the aura of the dark Heavenly Tiger clan hidden in the little tiger's body. However, when they heard Luo Shang's words, they were as shocked as when Du Xiaofu had defeated Old Manning Dragon. Dark Heavenly Tiger. He's from the dark Heavenly Tiger clan. Numerous gazes landed on the little tiger. The background of the dark, heavenly tiger clan was too great. Many people were secretly trembling. No wonder he had such a terrifying battle servant. It turned out that the black-robed young man was from the dark, heavenly tiger clan. Zhanlan, Xin Tu, and Xiaogu also paled. So that guy was from the dark sky tiger race. But strangely, they had never seen such a cunning guy before. Cut the crap. Only your battle servant has the right to fight with my battle servant. Do you want to make a bet? I'll accept as much as you want. If you don't dare, then forget it, Little Tiger said casually as he waved his sleeves. Your provocation doesn't work on me. Did Hu Pao ask you to test me? Luo Shang looked at Little Tiger. Her silky red hair flowed down like silk, and her seductive red eyes revealed a faint smile. She paused for a moment, then said to Little Tiger, "But I'll fulfill your wish, and I'll fulfill Hu Pao's wish." When her pleasant voice fell, a cosmos sack appeared in Luo Shang's slender white hands. She continued, "I've been training in the ancient lands for the past 3 years. I've gained a lot. 3 saint fruits, 2 sacred herbs, 3 Archean sacred artifacts, and 6 portions of Beast Clan experts' blood essences from the Archean era. It's enough to compare to everything in front of you." As she spoke, Luo Shang threw the cosmos sack in her hands onto the pile of cosmos sacks in front of Little Tiger and said, "You can check it first." Oh my god. Lord Luo Shang actually has so many treasures on her. Everyone's eyes were red as they stared fixedly at Luo Shang's cosmos sack. 3 saint fruits, 2 sacred herbs, 3 Archean sacred artifacts, and 6 portions of Beast Clan experts' blood essences from the Archean era. Any one of them was enough to attract the attention of a sacred beast realm expert. 3 Archean sacred artifacts, 6 portions of Beast Clan experts' blood essences from the Archean era. Their value would not be less than that of a sacred herb. It was indeed more valuable than the pile of treasures in front of Little Tiger. Qing Long's expression changed. He had originally thought that he had already obtained enough treasures from the ancient lands. However, he had not expected Luo Shang to have gained so much in the past 3 years of training in the ancient lands. It seemed that she had explored many dangerous places. Ouyang Shuang, Qing Wan, Xiao Qing, Dai Xingyu, and the others were so shocked that they could not stop gaping. The demonic beasts inside the ancient lands actually had so many treasures on them. Even the vast land of the 3 continents, Kyushu region in the outside world, could not be compared to the demonic beasts inside the ancient lands. It was no wonder that the demonic beasts inside the ancient lands had much more time to cultivate compared to the outside world. The resources for cultivation were much more abundant. The middle-aged battle servant from the Baifeng Divine Bird Clan and the other battle servants were shocked speechless when they saw the bets that had doubled. "There's no need to check. You're so good-looking. I'll believe you no matter what you say." Little Tiger could not contain his excitement. 3 saint fruits, 2 sacred herbs, 3 Archean sacred artifacts, and 6 portions of Beast Clan experts' blood essences from the Archean era. He had really struck it rich today. "Then let's begin," Luo Shang said faintly. "Let's begin." Little Tiger nodded. He could not wait to begin and end as soon as possible so that he could keep all the treasures in his bag as soon as possible. "Go. The opponent is very strong. There's no need to stay behind," Luo Shang said to the battle servant in battle robes behind her. "Yes." The battle servant in battle robes nodded. There was a flash of light under his feet, and his figure disappeared from the spot. In the next instant, the many living beings in the square noticed that the battle servant in battle robes had arrived in the middle of the square and was facing Du Xiaofu from afar. The battle servant was tall and straight. His battle robes were majestic, and his long hair was loose. He gave off a majestic and unapproachable feeling. In terms of aura, he had already suppressed Du Xiaofu. "Make your move. It's not the nature of a man to keep hiding." The battle servant in battle robes spoke. His voice was magnetic and could penetrate the void. When it landed in the ears of the living beings, it caused their eardrums to ring. "You're already a battle servant. How can you still talk about being a man?" Du Xiaofu said as he looked at the battle servant in battle robes. Such a battle servant was extraordinary. Du Xiaofu could easily tell that this battle servant was a nirvana supremacy with his primordial spirit. A nirvana supremacy had actually become a battle servant here. Du Xiaofu felt that it was a pity. I asked you to make a move, but you refused. Then I'll do it. The expression in the battle servant's eyes changed. Du Xiaofu's words had undoubtedly stimulated him slightly. Boom. As soon as the battle servant spoke, the ground and the surroundings rumbled while space warped, and it formed a terrifying area of frozen space. The former didn't waste any time. He formed a seal with his hand, and talisman markings sprayed out from his palm. A palm seal condensed, and it seemed to have transformed into a 5-fingered mountain that descended from the sky and crushed down towards Du Xiaofu. Boom. The square seemed to have been confined beneath the palm seal. Divine radiance fluctuated in a dazzling and resplendent manner, and the pressure it gave off caused the hearts of the living beings in the surroundings to tremble with fear. Boom. But in an instant, a muffled explosion resounded. The palm seal that was like a 5-fingered mountain exploded, and the talisman markings shattered. Du Xiaofu's figure appeared, and he raised his fist. It was his fist that had shattered the battle servant's palm seal. He's so powerful. This is his true strength. Many demonic beast experts were stunned. Luo Shang's battle servant was too powerful, but the mysterious battle servant was still able to contend against him. This was his true strength. The battle servant's expression also changed slightly. Suddenly, mysterious talismans covered his body and activated a kind of powerful martial vein. It covered the battle robe, as if it had fused with the battle robe. In the end, it turned into a divine armor. Even his head was covered, only his bright eyes could be seen. Rumble. The heavenly music continued, and 3 divine rings appeared above the battle servant's head at the same time. They were dazzling, like inextinguishable divine flames, and merged with the aura on his body. At that moment, the battle servant was like a deity in the sky. How powerful was he? The aura on his body rose to the peak, and he was at the nirvana realm. A sovereign. This is a sovereign. Lord Luo Shang's battle servant is also a sovereign. This is a sovereign battle servant. It's too shocking. A sovereign battle servant. The entire place was in an uproar. Everyone's eyes were trembling. This was a sovereign battle servant. Luo Shang was a sovereign genius, and she was ranked second among the younger generation of the Beast Alliance. Her battle servant was so powerful that they were all sovereigns. Luo Shang was still calm, and a faint smile appeared on his handsome face. His complicated temperament had a slight charm to it, but it was enough to attract the gazes of all the women present. Zhanlan, Qinglong, Xin Tu, and Xiao Gu's expressions changed. They also wanted to compete for the battle servant at the Beast Alliance meeting. They had originally thought that their battle servants were not bad, but now it seemed that their battle servants could not be compared to Luo Shang. They were not on the same level. Oh no, that battle servant will definitely lose. He can't win against Lord Luo Shang's battle servant. The surrounding Beast Clan experts whispered in shock. No matter what, the mysterious battle servant was going to be stopped. Rumble. The sovereign battle servant did not delay and continued to attack. His martial vein and sovereign strength were at the same time, forming a fist that exploded. Gulp. Before the fist, there seemed to be the cry of a phoenix that shook the heavens and the earth, causing many Beast Clan kings to tremble. It was a terrifying pressure that was hard to resist. That's the ancient Phoenix Fist, the ultimate move of the remote Sky Flame Phoenix clan. Some Beast Clan experts exclaimed. The ancient Phoenix Fist was the ultimate move of the remote Sky Flame Phoenix clan. They did not expect a battle servant to have comprehended it. However, the surrounding gazes quickly became shocked and relieved. It was likely that such a supreme battle servant possessed an extremely high status within the remote Sky Flame Phoenix tribe. It was not surprising that he was able to comprehend the ultimate technique of the remote Sky Flame Phoenix tribe. When the sovereign battle servant's fist landed, it was as if a huge, heavenly phoenix shadow had spread its wings and swept out. The blazing aura covered the heavens and earth, filling the void and covering the sun. The aura was so strong that it was unimaginable. Du Xiaofu was tempted, but it wasn't because of this supreme battle servant. Such a sovereign battle servant was indeed extraordinary. However, even if they were at the same level, Du Xiaofu would not pay much attention to it. let alone now. Du Xiaofu had secretly moved because he had sensed many obscure auras. Among them, there were the auras of Saint Beast Realm experts. They were secretly spying on him. If he attacked too strongly, he would undoubtedly expose himself. Therefore, Du Xiaofu could not deal with it quickly. He could only continue to tangle with it. He controlled his strength and instantly formed a symbol array to avoid the ancient phoenix fist. The sovereign battle servant was trapped in the symbol array. His aura erupted, and his sovereign strength was vast and mighty, shaking off the symbol array. Du Xiaofu formed another symbol array and arranged it in succession. The sovereign battle servant's expression changed again. He did not expect that even after fusing his martial vein and sovereign strength, he still could not deal with the sovereign battle servant in front of him. This sovereign battle servant was very strong. Every move he made was vast and mighty, shaking the heavens and earth. The surrounding creatures were all frightened. Du Xiaofu was in a difficult situation. He relied on the advantage of the symbol array to stall for time. This made many people look at him in a new light. It was definitely not simple to be able to continuously arrange symbol arrays. After a while, the sovereign battle servant's state of mind was affected. He began to attack fiercely. Mysterious symbols flooded the void, and muffled rumbling sounds could be heard. He wanted to directly suppress Du Xiaofu and did not want to waste any more time. Du Xiaofu could not avoid it. He could only collide with it. He kept retreating and staggered back. Bang, 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 the earth shook, and the ground on the square was torn apart. The void trembled, and shocking energy collided with resplendent light. That guy took a lot of elixirs. Someone was surprised to see that Du Xiaofu was constantly swallowing large amounts of elixirs during the battle. He seemed to be recovering, and it seemed like he was relying on elixirs to keep himself from collapsing. At the beginning, everyone thought that Du Xiaofu would not be able to last much longer. However, towards the end, some of the demonic beast experts could slowly sense that the sovereign battle servant was beginning to weaken. That ferocious attack was exhausting too much of his energy. It's time to end this. My true strength is at the Overlord realm. Finally, Du Xiaofu roared. His aura instantly rose, and he stepped into the Overlord realm. No one was surprised by Du Xiaofu's Overlord realm aura. Gu Zhao's Overlord realm battle servant and Old Man Dragon had both been defeated. This mysterious battle servant was naturally at the Overlord realm as well. You're worthy of being a sovereign to be able to make me use my trump card. Du Xiaofu roared on purpose. He formed a seal with his hands, and strange runes rose. Then, his aura rose at a speed visible to the naked eye. In just 2 short breaths, his aura rose to the peak of the Overlord realm. Du Xiaofu had purposely used the Wild Dragon Ninth Heaven to raise his cultivation. That battle servant has a secret technique that can temporarily raise his cultivation. The Overlord realm can raise his cultivation. This secret technique is too shocking. Sensing Du Xiaofu's rising aura, those with sharp eyes exclaimed. This secret technique was not simple. It was very shocking. Fight. As his aura rose, Du Xiaofu's surroundings rumbled continuously. He began to fight head-on, condensing all kinds of demonic beast energy. The demonic beast roared, the earth shook, and the runes shone brightly. At this moment, Luo Shang's eyes also began to shine with a bright light. Bang, bang, bang. The two of them collided continuously, and muffled sounds were like thunder. The two figures passed by each other in the void. Runes intertwined, and light shot into the sky, illuminating the surroundings as if the sun had descended. Finally, after a dozen moves, the sovereign battle servant grew weaker and weaker. This was caused by overexertion. Under everyone's gaze, Du Xiaofu took the opportunity to use a primordial spirit attack, which greatly affected the sovereign battle servant. Bang, bang, bang. Then, Du Xiaofu attacked violently as if he was using his full strength. He used the last of his strength. His attacks could shatter the void, and they landed on the sovereign battle servant's body. There were also primordial spirit attacks that enveloped him. Pft, pft. The sovereign battle servant spat out blood. The armor formed by the martial veins on his body cracked and dimmed. The divine halo above his head shattered. Lose. Du Xiaofu roared. He used his final move. His fist carried monstrous power, and it fell like a mountain. It landed heavily on the sovereign battle servant's chest, completely shattering his martial soul armor. His red lips cracked, and his body was drenched in blood. Poof! The sovereign battle servant's body plummeted from the void, accompanied by a spray of blood. He smashed into the reinforced ground of the square, causing cracks to appear. Du Xiaofu also landed. His face was extremely pale, and his aura was extremely weak. However, he still stood in the square. His voice was weak as he said, "I won." Everyone was stunned, and their expressions were completely frozen on their faces. The sovereign battle servant was also defeated. Even Xian Tu, Xiaogu, and the others couldn't help but click their tongues. Gulp, gulp. Then, the sound of people swallowing their saliva could be heard. They found it unbelievable. The sovereign battle servant had actually been defeated. He had clearly had the upper hand and suppressed the mysterious battle servant. Why had he been defeated in the end? Luo Yang's bewitching eyes flickered, and he looked a little dazed. Swish! The little tiger didn't stand on ceremony. He flicked his sleeve and collected the Chinquin bag and all the treasures in front of him. Today's over. If you want to challenge me again, do so tomorrow, the little tiger said. He was in a good mood. Many burning, blood-red eyes stared at the little tiger. Everyone knew that this guy had a mountain of treasures on him. Archaic sacred weapons and sacred medicines were in the double digits, and sacred weapons were in the triple digits. There were also archaic demon blood essences, half-sacred medicines, and many other treasures. He was definitely a huge treasure trove. But now, everyone knew that the little tiger was from the Dark Heavenly Tiger clan. The Dark Heavenly Tiger clan was a clan that they feared. Not to mention that they were in the Baifeng Divine Bird clan's territory. Even if they were outside, they wouldn't dare to openly rob him. Ouyang Shuang and Dai Xingyu understood this and went to Du Xiaofu's side. They supported the seemingly extremely weak Du Xiaofu and left with the little tiger amidst the heated uproar of the crowd. The Baifeng Divine Bird clan's battle servants recovered from their deep shock and immediately followed closely behind. "Let's go, haha," the little tiger swaggered. Since everyone thought that he was from the Dark Heavenly Tiger clan, he might as well swagger a little. Otherwise, he wouldn't look like one. Around the square, numerous figures watched as little tiger left. Their gazes were filled with complicated emotions. Chapter 2296. The Monster Kings who had lost everything, as well as Zhanlan, Xiaogu, Qinglong, and Xian Tu, were all secretly vomiting blood. They had been tricked from the beginning to the end, and there was nothing they could do. "We can't let that guy go," Qinglong said in a low voice. This was definitely not over. They couldn't just let this go. Under the cover of the sunset, Xiaoyao stood in the attic with an alluring figure. Her eyes were filled with ripples. She knew that she couldn't get that battle servant. As the sun set, the western mountains emitted an incomparably resplendent glow. Half of the sky was dyed a deep red, as if it was a vast red ocean, magnificent and magnificent. The courtyard on the mountain was shrouded in rays of light. We're rich now." In the courtyard, little tiger was excited. He took out all his Chinquin bags and treasures. He had made a fortune this time. It was probably more than what he had gotten from the ruins. Du Xiaofu also had a smile on his face. The original paleness and weakness had disappeared. In the beginning, he just wanted to get some cultivation techniques and martial techniques. If he could get a sacred medicine and a few sacred weapons, it would be good enough. He didn't expect to get such an amazing harvest in the end. Secretly releasing his mind, Du Xiaofu peeked into the Chinquin bags. There were indeed amazing sacred medicines and treasures. Luo Shang, Qinglong, and Xiaogu didn't cheat him. This matter won't end here. It will cause a lot of trouble. But then, Du Xiaofu put away all the Chinquin bags and treasures. He frowned and pondered. Du Xiaofu was very clear about the consequences of such a large number of treasures. Not to mention Qinglong, Xiaogu, Xian Tu, Zhanlan, and the other experts behind them would not let this matter rest. Once the news spread out, it was enough to cause any Saint Realm cultivator to secretly take action. The temptation was too great. Even a Saint Realm cultivator couldn't resist. "What should we do now?" I don't know how little Qing is doing now. Ouyang Shuang said. Act according to the situation, Du Xiaofu said. No matter what, this batch of treasures was in his hands. It wouldn't be easy to take them away from him. I need to see little Blue as soon as possible, Du Xiaofu muttered. He needed to see little Qing before he could decide what to do next. The commotion this time wasn't small. Du Xiaofu was worried that it would make it easy for people with ulterior motives to think that Lu Yu had been killed. Perhaps his identity would be exposed, and when that happened, it would cause great waves. Someone's here to blackmail us. By Ruyan. Suddenly, Du Xiaofu's eyes moved. Someone was coming over. He felt a familiar aura. Bai Ruyan and Bai Ruyan were among them. After that, Du Xiaofu maintained his pale face and weak aura. He walked out with the little tiger and saw Lao Qi, Bai Ruyan, and the others in the courtyard. Du Xiaofu secretly sized up a black-clothed young man. This black-clothed young man appeared to be in his 30s. His slightly tight-fitting black clothes completely revealed his perfect figure. His jet-black long hair was draped over his shoulders. On his dignified face, however, was a pair of clear and bright eyes. The black-clothed young man had a straight nose. Under the illumination of the sunset, he exuded a suffocating aura. His black robe fluttered slightly, as if he was a human-shaped tiger that was about to pounce. When the black-clothed young man appeared, Little Tiger's eyes suddenly trembled violently. Its body trembled involuntarily, and the blood in its body boiled as if it was about to start burning. So it's you. The black-clothed young man's pitch-black eyes immediately fell on Little Tiger as he uttered these words. You're from the dark, heavenly tiger clan. Little Tiger said. Black runes flickered in its pitch-black eyes. That was the blood of the dark, heavenly tiger clan boiling in its body. Little Tiger immediately sensed the other party's identity. It was a true member of the dark, heavenly tiger clan. Don't suppress it. Let me see your bloodline. The black-clothed young man looked at Little Tiger. His eyes glowed. At the same time, he formed a hand seal and set up a restrictive seal around them. A wave of black runes, as black as ink, flew directly into the space between Little Tiger's eyebrows and disappeared. In the next instant, Little Tiger's body glowed with a dazzling light. Black talisman patterns soared into the sky and condensed into a black, flying tiger phantom that was several feet in size. Its body was densely covered in scales that were as black as ink cast from the deep night sky, but there was also a deep golden color that faintly leaped about. The tiger's claws formed clouds and talisman patterns spread out. In particular, its pair of wings were wrapped in golden talisman patterns and emitted a domineering and intimidating aura that could cause mountains to collapse and the earth to split. Roar! The tiger's roar was deafening, causing one's primordial spirit to tremble. It was like the roar of a supreme beast that could move mountains and rivers. The shadow of the flying tiger entrenched itself behind Little Tiger. It emitted dazzling black runes. Although it was just a shadow, it was as oppressive as a mountain. It glared covetously, and its aura was powerful enough to suppress all beasts. When the black-clothed young man saw the flying tiger, he could not hide the shock on his face. What's up with your wings? Why do you have the aura of another beast on your body? Then, the black-clothed young man looked at Little Tiger and asked. A true dark heavenly tiger did not have wings, but the dark heavenly tiger bloodline in Little Tiger's body was very rich. I originally had the body of a king-scaled demonic tiger. I was born with atavism. I accidentally obtained the blood essence of the dark heavenly tiger and another type of demonic beast. That's how I became like this. The shadow of the flying tiger behind Little Tiger dissipated as it explained to the black-clothed young man. It hid the blood of the golden-winged rock that it had obtained from Du Xiaofu. I see. The black-clothed young man's eyes trembled. He knew that Little Tiger was not lying, but he still could not calm down. He looked at Little Tiger and said, I know that you came from the outside world. You have atavism. No matter what, you are undoubtedly of the bloodline of the dark heavenly tiger clan. Are you willing to return to the clan with me? Your bloodline is very strange. I can't say much to you, but I believe that the experts in the clan will value you. This, Little Tiger was surprised. It subconsciously looked at Du Xiaofu. As a member of the tiger clan, It was definitely Little Tiger's dream to have the opportunity to enter the dark Heavenly Tiger clan. Don't worry. You will only benefit greatly if you enter the dark Heavenly Tiger clan, Bai Ruyan said to Little Tiger. Du Xiaofu was secretly moved. Little Tiger had the bloodline of the dark Heavenly Tiger, but it was not a true dark Heavenly Tiger. If it could enter the dark Heavenly Tiger clan, it would be a great opportunity. It could not be missed. Little Tiger, go. This is a great opportunity. Du Xiaofu transmitted his voice to Little Tiger. Judging from the black-clothed young man's attitude, Little Tiger would not be in any danger if it entered the dark Heavenly Tiger clan. This was an opportunity that Little Tiger could not afford to miss out on. Little Tiger's eyes moved. It then looked up at the black-clothed young man and said, "Can you give me some time to think about it before making a decision?" "Of course. Anyway, I will stay here." After the Dao Beast Alliance meeting, you killed a member of the four-winged demonic snake clan today. Given the four-winged demonic snake clan's character, they will not let this matter rest. You better give me a decision soon. As long as you are in the dark Heavenly Tiger clan, the four-winged demonic snake clan will not be able to do anything, the black-clothed young man said to Little Tiger. I understand. Little Tiger nodded. Were you the one who won against Luoshang, Qinglong, Xiaogu, Xintu, and the rest? After that, the black-clothed young man looked at Little Tiger and asked. Finally, his gaze fell on Du Xiaofu, and he sized him up curiously. There were some fluctuations in his dark eyes. He had already received news that Luoshang's sovereign battle servant had also been defeated. This was definitely not an ordinary battle servant. That's right. Little Tiger nodded. Anyway, everyone knew about this. Treasures that you have won are enough to attract the attention of sacred beast realm experts. You must be careful. It's best to be with me as soon as possible. The black-clothed young man turned his gaze back to Little Tiger and said, You can rest assured that I am not interested in anything that you have. The clan will not ask you to hand it over. Your battle servant was able to win a great victory for the dark Heavenly Tiger clan. With me around, Luoshang will not be able to find trouble with you. Thank you. Little Tiger thanked him. He had already guessed the young man's identity. Sensing the young man's aura, he was not even afraid of Luoshang. Other than Hu Pao, who was ranked in the top 3 among the younger generation in the Beast Alliance, he could not be anyone else. I will make a move first. I need to inform the experts in the clan to come over as soon as possible. I am afraid that something will happen here. After that, Hu Pao said to Xiecheng. He put away the prohibition seal that he had set up and flew away. You have caused quite a commotion today. Qinglong, Zhanlan, and the rest have suffered a great loss. I am afraid that they will not take this lying down. As Hu Pao left, Bai Ruyan spoke. She looked at Little Tiger, Du Xiaofu, and the rest and gasped. They had already known everything that had happened. Without thinking, they knew that Little Tiger and the rest had caused Qinglong, Luoshang, and the rest to suffer. Looking at Du Xiaofu, Bai Ruyan and Xiecheng could not hide their shock. Such a battle servant was so powerful that he had defeated Luoshang's sovereign battle servant. Humph! If those guys are sore losers and dare to look for trouble, then I will teach them a lesson. Qingwan Shaoqing was not afraid at all. Qinglong and Luoshang were no match for Brother Xiaofu. Hearing Qingwan Shaoqing's words, Bai Ruyan and Xiecheng could only smile bitterly. Both of you, where is Shaoqing? Little Tiger asked. At that moment, everyone wanted to know about Shaoqing's situation. We are here for this matter. Let's talk inside. Hearing that, Xiecheng and Bai Ruyan looked serious. Apart from informing the dark Heavenly Tiger clan of Little Tiger's identity, they were also here for Shaoqing. After a while, in the courtyard hall, Little Tiger, Qingwan Shaoqing, and Du Xiaofu were seated. Ouyang Shuang and Dai Xingyu stood at the side. This matter is very complicated and has shocked all of us. Bai Ruyan looked at Little Tiger and Qingwan Shaoqing and said, Shaoqing is indeed a pure-blooded descendant of our clan, and her status is extremely high. According to seniority, even our clan leader has to address her as ancestor. What? Hearing that, Little Tiger and Qingwan Shaoqing were stunned. Du Xiaofu, Ouyang Shuang, and Dai Xingyu were also very surprised. This matter is very important, and we don't know much about it. We only know from the clan and a few clan elders that ancestor Shao Qing encountered great danger many years ago when she was still in the sacred egg and had yet to hatch. As a result, she was lost in the outside world. After a long time, very few people in the clan knew about this matter. However, the clan never gave up the hope of finding her. We hoped that one day, when the crack in the outside world opened, she would be able to return to the clan and acknowledge her ancestors. This time, she actually came back. Xiecheng looked very excited as he spoke. He also did not expect Shao Qing's identity to be at the level of an ancestor in the clan. How can you determine Shao Qing's identity? Du Xiaofu asked. He was a little surprised. Back then, Shao Qing came from the nameless demonic beast corpse, and the dark heavenly tiger's blood essence was refined from the nameless demonic beast corpse. Could it be related to the dark heavenly tiger clan? When did Shao Qing appear in the outside world? Only 2 cracks had appeared in the ancient, desolate, ominous ground. The second time was before the great tribulation of heaven and earth. Even if Shao Qing appeared in the outside world for the second time, it was still a long time ago. All of this caused Du Xiaofu to feel a little puzzled and puzzled. Bai Ruyan and Xiecheng looked at Du Xiaofu. Battle servants were not qualified to speak. With their identity, they did not need to care. Shao Qing has fused with a drop of our clan's ancestral blood. According to our clan's elders, the ancestral blood was left behind by Shao Qing's father. Only Shao Qing can truly fuse with the ancestral blood. This also completely proves Shao Qing's identity. She is an ancestor of our clan who went to the outside world. Due to a coincidence, she recently awakened in the outside world. Bai Ruyan said. She knew that the battle servant in front of her was definitely not ordinary, so she told Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu was secretly moved. If what Bai Ruyan said was true, he did not expect Shao Qing to have such an identity. Where is Sister Shao Qing now? Shao Qing asked. She is fusing with the ancestral blood. She has been taken away by the clan's saint ancestor. She should be very safe. However, it will take some time before she can completely fuse with the ancestral blood. This is also a great opportunity, Xiecheng said. He clearly knew what fusing with the ancestral blood meant. We're here to inform you that you can stay in our clan for a period of time, Bai Ruyan said, her gaze intentionally or unintentionally landing on Du Xiaofu. The sky had already turned dark. Xiecheng and Bai Ruyan then left. What should we do now? After Xiecheng and Bai Ruyan left, Ouyang Shuang said to Du Xiaofu. They did not know when Shao Qing would be able to fuse with the ancestral blood. If she did not fuse with the ancestral blood before the ancient, desolate, ominous grounds closed, it would be unknown how many years it would take for her to come back here again. Let's leave quickly. This is not a place to stay for long. Shao Qing will not be in danger here for the time being. There is no harm in it. After pondering for a while, Du Xiaofu said, it was a great opportunity for Shao Qing to stay here. Looking at Xiecheng's expression, it seemed that fusing with the ancestral blood would bring great benefits to Shao Qing. Now, Du Xiaofu hoped that Shao Qing would be able to fuse with the ancestral blood before the ancient, desolate, ominous grounds closed. As for himself and the others, Du Xiaofu knew that they had to leave as soon as possible. This was the Beast Alliance. Once his identity was exposed, it would cause a great commotion. At that time, even the Bai Fong Divine Bird Clan would not let him go. Little Tiger, you should go to the Dark Heavenly Tiger Clan. After that, Du Xiaofu looked at Little Tiger and said. Little Tiger seemed to be worried about something when he told Hu Pao that he needed time to think about it. Third young master, if I go, what will you do? Will you go with me? Little Tiger asked. It was not that he did not want to go to the Dark Heavenly Tiger Clan, but he was worried about what the third young master would do if he went. Compared to that, he wanted to stay by the third young master's side more. I can't go, but you have to go back. This is your opportunity. We will meet again in the future. At that time, I hope that you can transform again. Du Xiaofu said to Little Tiger seriously. But once your identity is exposed, it will be very dangerous. Little Tiger said. He was worried. With your strength, you will only be a burden to me. If you can transform again, we might have the chance to fight side by side when we meet again, just like before. Du Xiaofu smiled and patted Little Tiger's shoulder. All these years, Little Tiger was not only his mount, but also his family. Little Tiger's eyes trembled. He recalled the time in the dark forest and the savage beast mountain range. At that time, he could fight side by side with the third young master. What kind of scene was that? They could defeat tens of thousands of enemies and pass through the enemy as if there was no one around. But later, as the third young master's strength became stronger, he fell behind and could not keep up with the third young master's footsteps. Okay, I will go to the dark heavenly tiger clan. When I have the chance to improve and transform again, I will look for the third young master. Little Tiger nodded. His eyes were filled with dark runes, and a fierce aura fluctuated. He longed to transform again. He longed for the day when he could fight side by side with the third young master again and defeat all enemies. Tomorrow, Little Tiger will look for Hu Pao. We will think of a way to leave this place. Du Xiaofu said and made a decision. This was not a place where he could stay for long. After a while, in the room, the night sky was projected from the window, leaving behind a mottled shadow of the moon. Du Xiaofu sat cross-legged and looked out of the window. His thoughts were in a mess. He was worried about his drunkard father, Du Xiaoyao, Little Xingxing, Zhen Qingchun, Yi Piaoling, and the others. It had been a few days since they entered the ancient wilderness fearsome ground. Thinking about the harvest during this period, Du Xiaofu could not help but feel happy. Especially the harvest today, which was even more amazing. Then, Du Xiaofu formed a hand seal and closed his eyes slightly. He continued to immerse himself in the comprehension of the three sword techniques. Du Xiaofu wanted to thoroughly comprehend the three sword techniques and understand the mysteries within. At night, the moon was like flowing water, illuminating the forest. There were many figures standing in the valley, and their auras were quite extraordinary. At the top of the valley, there were three silhouettes. Under the moonlight, their figures flickered. The one in front was an old man in a red robe. His long hair was combed behind his head, and there was a blood-red strand of hair in the middle that was particularly eye-catching. Beside the old man in a red robe, there was an old man in a golden robe and a white-haired old woman. When the three of them appeared at the top of the valley, the surrounding void quietly froze. Many figures below were silent and did not dare to speak. They stood respectfully. Swoosh, swoosh. After a while, several figures broke through the void and appeared. Greetings, divine ancestor. The figures landed in the valley and bowed to the three figures. Someone said, Divine ancestor, we have already found out that the few people who were in close contact with the human youth are now in the Baifeng Divine Bird Clan. Some of them seem to be from the Baifeng Divine Bird Clan and the Dark Heavenly Tiger Clan. We have received news that they have a battle servant. During the day, he actually defeated Luoshang, an eternal realm sovereign battle servant, and won many sacred elixirs, sacred weapons, and other treasures. Someone said, having found out important news, even if he is from the Baifeng Divine Bird Clan, we still have to find out. That battle servant is also very suspicious. The old man in a red robe said in a gloomy and ear-piercing voice, his eyes blood red, if this was done intentionally by the Baifeng Divine Bird Clan, my Gold Biter Rat Clan will not let this matter rest. The old man in a golden robe said in a low voice, his eyes dark. In the outer city of the Baifeng Divine Bird Clan, it was destined that many people would not be able to calm down tonight. Bastard, too much of a bastard. Some people roared in the middle of the night. They were the monster beast kings who had been cheated in the afternoon. In the end, they learned the cruel truth. From the beginning, they had been cheated by the master and servant of the dark, heavenly tiger clan and lost everything. But there were also monster beast kings who were more open-minded. Compared to Qing Long, Zhan Lan, Xin Tu, and the others, their losses were nothing. Especially compared to Luoshang, their losses were not even worth mentioning. In an extremely short period of time, the name of the mysterious battle servant had exploded in the entire city. Such a battle servant was so powerful that even monster beast kings were shocked. The night passed, and the sky slowly began to brighten. The moist earth seemed to still have traces of the morning sun. Within the Baifeng Divine Bird Clan, the cries of spirit birds and auspicious beasts faintly echoed, crisp and pleasing to the ear. The rising sun peeked out from behind the majestic mountain peak. The first few rays of light interacted with the traces of the fading night, completely opening the curtain of the sky. Huff! In the room, Du Xiaofu withdrew his hand seal and spat out a mouthful of turbid qi. His eyes slowly opened. There was no movement, only clear and bright. Today's chapters are all large chapters. Added together, they have the usual volume of 6 chapters. Completed today. Chapter 2297. However, Du Xiaofu knew that his spirit gate was full and his profound qi was surging. He had refined the 9-leaf golden star vine and reached the peak of the initial stage of the Saint Realm. However, it would not be easy to advance further. Du Xiaofu had obtained many treasures recently. He planned to find a place to advance further after leaving the Baifeng Divine Bird Clan and see if he could reach the middle stage of the Saint Realm. However, Du Xiaofu was disappointed that he had not comprehended much of the sky-splitting 3 swords. Oh no! Suddenly, Du Xiaofu's expression changed. He sensed with his primordial spirit that an expert had arrived. Walala! In an instant, the room was filled with a blazing aura. The void was distorted, and it seemed as if it was isolated in a separate space. It was sealed by a restriction and formed a spatial barrier. Who is it? Du Xiaofu jumped up. The profound qi in his body surged and his eyes were alert. The person who could do this was definitely not an ordinary Saint Realm expert. You dared to enter the Baifeng clan like this. Why are you so timid now? A hazy figure appeared in front of Du Xiaofu. She was wrapped in light and her figure was hazy. As the light slowly dissipated, an old and tottering figure appeared in front of Du Xiaofu. It was an old woman with drooping eyes and a head of white hair. She gave people the feeling that she was about to die. However, the old woman's drooping eyes were deep and clear, with a hint of green and red in them. There was no fluctuation of aura on the old woman's body. However, Du Xiaofu's eyes were alert. Du Xiaofu felt that the aura on this old woman was not much weaker than Hualezi. No need to be nervous. I know you are from the outside world. The entrance has opened again. I just have some things I want to know. The old woman looked at Du Xiaofu and staggered 2 steps forward. She sat down at the side as if she did not have the strength to stand. However, Du Xiaofu did not think that this old woman was about to die. She was an absolutely terrifying expert. She was a terrifying existence. Senior, please speak. Du Xiaofu bowed slightly. Since this mysterious old lady had appeared here, she must be a cultivator from the Baifeng Divine Bird Clan. She did not seem to have any ill intentions at the moment, so he would act according to the circumstances. What is your relationship with Xiaoqing? How did she awaken? The old woman looked at Du Xiaofu. She asked. It's a long story. Du Xiaofu had nothing to hide. Du Xiaofu was Du Xiaofu. She was. Thus, Du Xiaofu roughly explained everything, starting from the time when he had accidentally obtained a headless corpse and ending with Little Qing's revival. Xiaoqing's awakening is not something an ordinary talisman master can do. The old woman looked at Du Xiaofu. Her eyes were green and red. It was as if she could see through Du Xiaofu. No matter what he tried to hide, it would be difficult to escape her prying eyes. To tell you the truth, I had the blood of the golden-winged rock clan in my body. I used my blood as a catalyst to awaken Xiaoqing. Du Xiaoqing said. He was secretly shocked. This old woman was not ordinary. The blood of the golden-winged great rock clan. No wonder. That's right. Little Qing's body has a bit of that clan's aura. Although a very long time has passed, only the blood of the Supreme Beast clan has the opportunity to awaken Little Qing. The old woman said softly. Light fluctuated in her eyes. She slowly raised her eyes and looked at Du Xiaoqing. She said, in that case, Xiaoqing has been taken care of by you in the outside world all these years. Although my Baifeng clan has great enmity with some people in the outside world, we owe you a big favor. You secretly escorted Xiaoqing back to the clan. My Baifeng clan also owes you a big favor. Tell me, what do you want? If the Baifeng clan can do it, we will not refuse. Xiaoqing is already my relative. She is my family. Being able to see Xiaoqing return to the clan and know about her background is enough. I have no other request. Du Xiaoqing shook his head. He looked at the old woman and said, if it is possible, I would like to know more about Xiao Qing's current situation. The old woman looked at Du Xiaofu, Xiao Qing. She seemed to be a little surprised. Some fluctuations flashed in her eyes. After a while, she said, "If you have no other request, then I will tell you something. Perhaps it will be useful to you in the future. It has been a long time, so long that I have almost forgotten. It was when the entrance here cracked last time. Some cultivators from the outside world came in. They were all saints. Some of them were very strong and had their eyes on my Baifeng clan. At that time, my parents were the strongest in the Baifeng clan." As the old woman spoke, she paused for a moment. The expression on her old face also fluctuated. The green and red light in her eyes became brighter and brighter as she said, "Coincidentally, Little Blue's appearance greatly reduced my mother's strength. They found an opportunity to join forces and attack my parents. A cultivator from the dark, heavenly tiger clan noticed the clues and came to help. However, he was still no match for them. At the last moment, my mother sealed Xiao Qing and handed her over to the cultivator from the dark, heavenly tiger clan. She asked the cultivator to use the dark, heavenly tiger clan's innate skill to take Xiao Qing away. Those people were prepared and chased after her. In the end, there was a rumor that the cultivator from the dark, heavenly tiger clan could only risk his life to escape to the outside world. My mother did not return to the clan after that battle. I did not even get to see her for the last time. My father was seriously injured and fled to the clan. Not long after, he could not hold on any longer. Before he left, my father condensed a drop of essence blood with his own cultivation and told me to find a way to find my sister." As her voice slowly faded, the corners of the old woman's aged eyes became a little moist. It was as if this kind of emotion should not appear on such a powerhouse. Du Xiaofu looked at the old woman in front of him. He could not really understand what she was going through. However, Du Xiaofu could feel that the old woman in front of him had gone through so many years. That pain had not faded. What kind of pain was that? "Senior, please restrain your grief. At least Xiao Qing is back now." Du Xiaofu did not know how to comfort her. Then, his expression changed. He stared blankly at the old woman and exclaimed, "So, you are Xiao Qing's elder sister?" At this moment, Du Xiaofu was really stunned. No wonder Bai Ruyan and Xie said that Xiao Qing's status was extremely high. She was the ancestor of the Bai Feng divine bird clan. It turned out that Xiao Qing had such a background. She was the sister of this terrifying expert in front of him. "Of course, Xiao Qing is indeed my sister. I originally thought that until the day I died, I would not have the chance to complete my father's task. I never thought that the heavens would be kind and allow me to see my sister in the remaining years of my life." The old woman's pain had faded a little. A slight smile appeared on her old face. She looked at Du Xiaofu and said, "I don't have a good impression of people from the outside world. However, you have taken care of Xiao Qing all these years and protected her back to the clan. That is a great kindness. No matter what, my Baifeng clan owes you a great favor. So, take this." As soon as she finished speaking, 2 items appeared in the old woman's hands. They turned into streaks of light and shot through the air before Du Xiaofu. They were a bag of cosmos and an ancient jade slip. The jade slip shone brightly. "Senior, what is the meaning of this? Xiao Qing is my family. I have said that I have no requests. Since Xiao Qing has returned to the clan, I am also planning to leave." Du Xiaofu said. Xiao Qing was his sister, his family. Although it was not Du Xiaofu's character to not take something, it was his principle. "Do you think you can leave this place so easily?" The old woman smiled and looked at Du Xiaofu. Hearing this, Du Xiaofu was stunned. "No matter how well you hide, there are still traces. The Ro Owl clan, the Goldbiter rats, and many other large clans have arrived overnight. Many of their saint beasts have come. The Baifeng clan can stop them from seeing Xiao Qing, but they can't stop them from seeing you. After all, you are battle servants. When the time comes, you probably won't be able to hide your identity anymore. You'll be exposed." The old woman said to Du Xiaofu, "As long as your identity is exposed, you're a human, and you seem to be related to the humans here. They won't let you go for killing a descendant of the Ro Owl clan. The Baifeng clan is the leader of the Beast Alliance, but they won't be able to protect you. Otherwise, the Beast Alliance will face great waves that you can't imagine. Pausing slightly, the old woman looked at Du Xiaofu and sighed apologetically. You're a member of the Baifeng clan and have come to protect Shaoqing, but the Baifeng clan is unable to protect you. So we owe you another favor. There are a few saint pills in your Chinquin pouch, as well as some treasures that will be quite useful to you as a human. Consider it a little compensation for me to show my peace of mind. The Jade Slip contains the method to break through the defensive formation of my Baifeng clan's outer city. You're a talisman master, so you should understand. If anything happens, the Baifeng clan will activate the defensive formation to trap you and stop them. You can use this opportunity to break through the formation and leave. Flee as far as you can. If there's a chance in the future, the Baifeng clan will repay your kindness. With that, the old woman stood up shakily. She looked at Du Xiaofu and suddenly laughed. Ha ha ha, the mighty Baifeng clan can't even protect a young man. I'm ashamed. I'm ashamed. The old woman smiled, but there was bitterness in her eyes. Senior, you're exaggerating. Du Xiaofu spoke and frowned slightly. It seemed like his identity was exposed faster than he had expected. The Baifeng Divine Bird Clan was the leader of the Beast Alliance. Du Xiaofu could imagine that if his identity was exposed, the Baifeng Divine Bird Clan would protect him. They would inadvertently become enemies with the entire Beast Alliance. Now that Shaoqing had returned to the Baifeng Divine Bird Clan, he could not implicate the Baifeng Divine Bird Clan, even if it was for Shaoqing's sake. Call out to the flowers weekly. Xiaoyu, continue writing. Chapter 2298. If the Baifeng Divine Bird Clan was truly ungrateful, the old woman wouldn't have come to inform him. May I ask, Senior, if I walk out, will little Qing be fine? Du Xiaofu asked the old woman. The old woman was slightly taken aback. She looked at Du Xiaofu with bright eyes and said, no matter how bold they are, they won't dare to touch little Qing. I wonder how many of them are here, and what are their cultivation levels? Du Xiaofu continued to ask. The Roal clan, the Goldbiter Rat clan, and the Sinister Lightning Demonic Snake clan. A total of 3 saint beasts. Yesterday, you secretly killed a junior of the Four-Winged Demonic Snake clan, which attracted the Four-Winged Demonic Snake clan's Saint Beast Realm cultivator. He probably won't dare to touch the Dark Heavenly Tiger clan, but if your identity is exposed, he might attack. The old lady looked at Du Xiaofu and said, the Beast Alliance meeting is about to begin. Not long ago, the distant Sky Flame Phoenix clan and the 8 Desolation Demon Dragon clan each sent a mid-stage Saint Beast. They're probably not here for you, but if your identity is exposed, I'm afraid they'll interfere. There are quite a few Saint Beasts. Hearing this, Du Xiaofu's eyes flickered. We'll hand you over. Once we attack, the Baifeng clan will activate the formation. You can take the opportunity to leave toward the east. As the Beast Alliance meeting approaches, there will be Saint Beasts appearing in other directions. The east is the territory of the human race. You'll be temporarily safe there. The old woman told Du Xiaofu a relatively safe route. That won't be necessary. It's just a few Saint Beasts. Du Xiaofu smiled faintly. Golden light flashed in his eyes, domineering for no reason. Back then, even the 9th Demon Emperor, 8th Demon Emperor, and 7th Demon Emperor had chased after him. With Du Xiaofu's current cultivation level, he didn't need to fear those early-stage Saint Beasts, especially the few holy beasts from the Roal clan and the Goldbiter Rat clan. If it weren't for the fact that he had to send little Qing back to the Baifeng clan, Du Xiaofu would have killed them long ago. How could those old fellows have the chance to chase after him? However, Du Xiaofu was a little concerned about the 2 middle-stage, holy beast realm cultivators who might interfere. They might have some influence when the time comes. But at this moment, Du Xiaofu really wasn't afraid. Even if he couldn't do anything to those 2 mid-stage holy beasts, they were still far from being able to stop him from leaving. Hearing Du Xiaofu's words, the old woman was slightly surprised. I'll take this jade slip, but there's no need for this item. Little Qing is my family, and she's also my little sister. Du Xiaofu put away the jade slip in front of him and handed the Chinquin bag back to the old woman. Although he had the Scarlet Nightmare Monkey Bloodline Soul, not all talisman arrays would be effective on the Scarlet Nightmare Monkey Bloodline Soul. It was better to be safe than sorry. As for the Chinquin bag, Du Xiaofu was indeed a little tempted by the things inside, but he had a bottom line. The old woman looked at Du Xiaofu and was secretly surprised. She took the Chinquan bag and said, "Someone's coming. Remember what I said. The Baifeng clan owes you a favor. If there's a chance in the future, you'll repay it." As soon as she finished speaking, the surrounding space rippled and the old woman's figure quietly disappeared. It was as if nothing had happened. There was no aura at all. So powerful, unfathomable. Du Xiaofu was secretly surprised. This old woman was too powerful. She was probably comparable to Huolei Laozu. She was unfathomable. Then, Du Xiaofu's face turned serious. He walked out of the room and saw Dai Xingyu, Ouyang Shuang, Little Qing, and the little tiger. "We have to leave. There's trouble," Du Xiaofu said. "What's going on? Has your identity been exposed?" Ouyang Shuang and the others' expressions changed. "There's not much time. The three of you can enter the ancient barren space. There won't be any problems." Du Xiaofu smiled and seemed very relaxed. "Are you really okay?" Looking at Du Xiaofu's relaxed expression, Ouyang Shuang was even more worried. "Don't worry. You can enter the ancient barren space and cultivate in seclusion for a while. Refining the sacred medicine will benefit you a lot." As soon as he finished speaking, Du Xiaofu's beautiful heart flashed. He summoned the ancient barren space and 3 brocade boxes appeared in his hands. He handed them to Ouyang Shuang, Dai Xingyu, and Little Qing. These were the 3 sacred fruits that Du Xiaofu had chosen. They were the most suitable for the 3 of them. Although Dai Xingyu and Ouyang Shuang consumed the sacred fruits directly and the medicinal effects would be weaker, they did not have much choice at this time. "Then you must be careful. Don't be careless." Ouyang Shuang took the brocade boxes and did not say much. She knew that she would not be of any help to Du Xiaofu. Instead, she would be a burden. "Don't worry. The ancestors outside, legalism, and those guys can't do anything to me. It's the same for these guys inside." Du Xiaofu smiled. After sending Ouyang Shuang, Dai Xingyu, and Little Qing into the ancient barren space, the smile on his face slowly disappeared. "Third young master," Little Tiger said. He knew very well that there was going to be a big battle. "Take this. Enter the dark heavenly tiger clan. There will be a chance for us to fight side by side in the future." Du Xiaofu handed a cosmos sack to Little Tiger. There were items that were suitable for Little Tiger. After parting with Little Tiger this time, he did not know when they would meet again. It was possible that they would not meet again before this fearsome ground closed again. However, Du Xiaofu knew that returning to the dark heavenly tiger clan was the most beneficial for Little Tiger. "Third young master, I." Little Tiger's voice was a little hoarse. He knew Third young master's temper. Something big must have happened, and there would be a fierce battle. And he could not participate because his strength was still too low. Du Xiaofu smiled and patted Little Tiger's shoulder. "Remember, no matter what happens later, don't say anything. I have my own plans. When we meet again in the future, I hope you can transform again. I will be looking forward to it." "Okay." Little Tiger gritted his teeth and nodded. His pure black eyes were filled with a domineering ferocity and a king's aura that could shake the world. Whoosh whoosh. Outside the courtyard, there was the sound of wind breaking. Someone was coming. Du Xiaofu and Little Tiger walked out and saw Bai Ruyan, in the middle-aged battle servant. "Something happened. We are here to take you 3 battle servants away." Bai Ruyan looked at Du Xiaofu. The folds of her fiery red dress were like flames, and the light flowed down to the ground, adding to her beauty and nobility. Looking at Du Xiaofu's rosy face, she was very astonished. Yesterday, he was seriously injured and exhausted to the extreme, but he actually recovered in a single night. "Just take me away. I will go with you." Du Xiaofu looked at Bai Ruyan and said, "Their target is also me. I will go with you." "Do you already know something?" Bai Ruyan looked at Du Xiaofu and was very surprised. "I don't know. Didn't someone continue to challenge me?" Du Xiaofu smiled faintly. It seemed like Bai Ruyan didn't know that the mysterious old lady had come to find him. Hearing this, Bai Ruyan looked at Du Xiaofu and then said to Du Xiaofu and Little Tiger, "Roaring Roar Clan, Gold Devouring Rat Clan, and Dark Lightning Demonic Snake Clan have sent Saint Beast experts. They suspect that Little Green and you are related to the human who killed Luo Yu. They want to see you. Also, Four-Winged Demonic Snake Clan sent a Saint Beast expert to find trouble with Little Tiger. Little Tiger's eyes darkened. No wonder the third young master was making arrangements. As expected, his identity was about to be exposed. Once his identity was exposed, a great battle would be unavoidable in the Beast Alliance. Where is Hu Pao? Du Xiaofu asked. He already knew the purpose of the Luo Yu clan. Bai Ruyan and Bai Ruyan were secretly moved. Was this really a battle servant? He even dared to call Hu Pao by his name. At this moment, looking at Du Xiaofu, Lao Ji and Bai Ruyan's hearts trembled inwardly. It seemed that this person's aura was extremely different from yesterday, and it made them tremble inwardly. Hu Pao is already waiting. As long as Little Tiger returns to the clan, Four-Winged Demonic Snake Clan won't dare to make a move no matter how bold they are. Bai Ruyan said, this battle servant's invisible aura made his beast soul tremble for no reason. This was too strange. Let's go, Du Xiaofu said. His eyes narrowed slightly. What should come will come. But it was enough. Little Green and Little Tiger had the best arrangements and obtained the greatest opportunities. This trip was not in vain. You have to be careful. The Luo Yu clan and Goldbiter Rat clan won't let this go. They can't do anything to Little Tiger and Little Green. At that time, I'm afraid they will inevitably make things difficult for you. Bai Ruyan reminded Du Xiaofu and said, but you don't have to worry too much. If those people go too far, the experts of my clan won't sit idly by. It's not certain who will make trouble for whom. Du Xiaofu smiled slightly. Indeed, there was no need to be afraid now. It was not certain who would make trouble for whom. Hearing Du Xiaofu's words, Bai Ruyan and Bai Ruyan were secretly moved. Whoosh whoosh, immediately, Du Xiaofu followed Bai Ruyan and left. They went to the main hall in the outer city. It was said that those Saint Beast experts were already waiting there, which alarmed many people. The outer city was vast. The majestic buildings were like mountains standing in the center of the city. They were ancient and modeled with the passage of time. The huge square was surrounded by mysterious talisman runes. It was reinforced by talisman arrays and was unshakable. Even an ordinary Saint Realm cultivator would not be able to destroy it. The main hall was vast and spacious. Dozens of huge stone pillars were carved with mysterious beast images. They supported the huge hall that was hundreds of feet long and hundreds of feet tall. At this moment, the atmosphere in the main hall was stagnant and oppressive. It was enough to make the legs of those who were weak and their beast souls tremble. On both sides of the main hall, there were 6 figures sitting on large ancient wooden chairs. There were no auras on these 6 figures, but if one were to look closely, they would be able to see that every one of them was secretly distorting the space around them. The 6 of them sat upright and looked different. But if Du Xiaofu was here, he would definitely be able to recognize 3 of them. Xiao Yu's original WeChat account password has been lost. Everyone, please add Xiao Yu's new account, Yu Feng. Most of the notices in the book will be sent out through this account. Thank you. Chapter 2299. There were 3 people who had chased after Du Xiaofu after coming out of the crack in the valley. They were the 3 Saint Beast Realm cultivators from the Roe Deer clan. At this moment, there were many figures standing behind the 6 people who were seated. They stood respectfully with their hands by their sides. Their expressions were solemn, and they did not say anything. At the head of the hall, there were 2 figures sitting upright. The one in front was a middle-aged man who looked to be in his 40s. His long red hair draped over his shoulders, and he was dressed in a long robe. He looked extremely refined and dignified. Beside the middle-aged man sat a red-haired old man. He wore a wide robe that covered his slightly thin body. It seemed a little loose, but his invisible aura was definitely not inferior to any of the 6 people sitting upright. At this moment, the hall was silent, and it seemed even more oppressive. The 3 Saint Beast Realm cultivators from the Roe Deer race and an old man with a feminine face had extremely gloomy expressions. However, there were 2 middle-aged men. Their temperaments were extremely extraordinary. Their expressions were calm, and their gazes were as calm as an ancient well. Whoosh whoosh, outside the hall, there was the sound of wind breaking. Bai Ruyan brought the little tiger and Du Xiaofu into the hall. Whoosh whoosh. Immediately, many gazes in the hall were cast towards the outside of the hall. The two middle-aged men with extraordinary temperaments who were sitting upright also raised their eyes slightly. Du Xiaofu followed Bai Ruyan and Bai Ruyan into the hall. Numerous gazes accompanied by obscure auras immediately enveloped them. Du Xiaofu did not mind. He had seen many of these lineups before. Looking around the hall, Du Xiaofu saw many familiar figures. Husi stood quietly at the side, giving off a feeling that he was about to pounce. There were many figures following behind him. Judging from the aura that leaked out, they were undoubtedly from the dark, heavenly tiger clan. Beside him were some elders with extraordinary auras. They should be the elders and experts of the Bai Fong divine bird clan. Du Xiaofu's eyes moved. It wasn't because he saw the 3 sacred beast realm cultivators from the Roao clan, but because of the 2 middle-aged men who were sitting upright. Luo Shang and Qing Long were standing respectfully behind them. The Heavenly Flame Phoenix clan and the 8 Desolation Demonic Dragon clan's middle stage Saint Beast Realm experts. Du Xiaofu already had an idea in his heart. Those 2 people were undoubtedly the remote Sky Flame Phoenix and the 8 Desolation Demon Dragon clan's middle stage Saint Beast Realm cultivators that the old woman had mentioned. Then, Du Xiaofu's gaze landed on the seat of honor in the main hall. The middle-aged man who was sitting upright was dignified without being angry. His aura seemed to be even stronger than that of the leader of the uprising, Jialo Changtian. There was also the red-haired old man. Under the cover of his wide robe, Du Xiaofu could feel a terrifying aura that could erupt like a volcano at any time. Half-saint, mid-stage holy beast realm. Du Xiaofu secretly peaked. The middle-aged man who was dignified without being angry should be the clan leader of the Bai Fong divine bird clan, who was at the half-saint level. The red-haired old man beside him was definitely at the mid-stage holy beast realm. Divine ancestor, it's him. He killed Qi Yu. A trembling voice came from behind the old man with a feminine face. It was a young man who was looking at little tiger with lingering fear. Yesterday, he had seen with his own eyes that it was the black-robed young man who had torn Qi Yu into pieces with one move. Boy, how dare you kill my descendant? The feminine-looking old man's gaze had already fallen on little tiger. He stood up angrily, a cold light shooting out from his eyes. A cold aura suddenly swept out, crushing toward little tiger. Little tiger had already known. He had seen more than 1 or 2 Saint Realm cultivators, including experts like Huolei Laozu. Although his beast soul trembled under the crushing aura of the holy beast realm, he still raised his head and looked straight at the old man. In his pitch-black eyes, black runes surged with a faint golden radiance, overbearing and fierce. He pointed at the feminine-looking old man and roared like a tiger, shaking the vast main hall. Old thing, what are you shouting for? So what if I kill your descendants sooner or later? Hearing little tiger's words, which directly pointed at the holy beast realm cultivator and did not put him in his eyes, everyone's expression changed. In particular, the holy beast realm cultivators were secretly shocked. That young man dared to look down on Qi, who of the 4-winged demon snake clan. Qi, who was also stunned. He had received news that his most beloved descendant had been directly killed in the Bai Fong divine bird clan. His body and soul had been destroyed, and he had been exposed. But when Qi Hu arrived at the Bai Fong divine bird clan, he learned that it was the dark heavenly tiger clan who had killed his descendant. His heart immediately sank. He could not afford to offend the dark heavenly tiger clan, but he could not bear to let the matter go. Therefore, when he first saw the young man, Qi Hu originally wanted to show his strength first. No matter what, he could not let the young man go before the holy beast realm cultivator of the dark heavenly tiger clan arrived. But Qi Hu did not expect the young man to not put him in his eyes at all. His feminine face became completely gloomy and twitched. Finally, he said, Good, how dare you? Taking advantage of your seniority to bully others. If we were at the same cultivation level, I would have killed you. Little tiger's eyes darkened. His black robe fluttered, and he released his aura to resist the pressure of the holy beast realm cultivator. If they were at the same cultivation level, he would not be afraid of this old man. How arrogant! Everyone's eyes trembled as they secretly exclaimed, "You have no respect for your elders and are arrogant and domineering. I will teach you a lesson on behalf of your clan elders." Chi-Hu was furious, and his aura exploded in an instant. How could Chi-Hu endure being pointed out by a junior like this? He was about to attack. Du Xiaofu's eyes darkened, and a faint sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth. As long as this old man dared to attack, he would not be polite. He would deal with this old man first. Senior Chi-Hu, the disciples of my clan will be taught by the elders of my clan. My elders are already on their way, so there is no need to trouble Senior Chi-Hu. Hu Pao walked out and said in a low voice. He stood beside Little Tiger, looked straight at Little Tiger and scolded, "Why are you still standing there? You have offended Senior Chi-Hu, and the elders will punish you later." Although Hu Pao scolded, many people could see that Hu Pao was looking at Little Tiger with admiration in his eyes. At this moment, several figures from the dark, heavenly Tiger clan also looked at Hu Pao with admiration. As expected of the dark, heavenly Tiger bloodline, Hu Pao did not disgrace the dark, heavenly Tiger clan. Seeing this, Du Xiaofu gave Little Tiger a look. Humph! Little Tiger snorted at Chi-Hu and retreated behind Hu Pao. Chi-Hu looked straight at Hu Pao. He knew Hu Pao's identity. If he touched Hu Pao, the entire dark, heavenly Tiger clan would definitely go to war with the four-winged demonic snake clan. At that time, the four-winged demonic snake clan would not be able to resist at all. Hu Pao, are you threatening me with your dark, heavenly Tiger clan? The dark, heavenly Tiger clan killed my descendant. The four-winged demonic snake clan will not let this matter rest. Chi-Hu heard Hu Pao's threat. The experts of the dark, heavenly Tiger clan were already on their way. Hu Pao was clearly threatening him. I dare not. As far as I know, it was Chi-Yu of the four-winged demonic snake clan who took liberties with my dark, heavenly Tiger clan's battle servant. He did not know when to stop, so he was killed by my disciples. The dark, heavenly Tiger clan is not at fault. If you want to seek justice, you can wait for the elders of my clan to come. I believe that the elders of my clan will give you a satisfactory explanation. Hu Pao said. He stood tall and straight, like a fierce tiger. Although his cultivation was not as high as Chi-Hu's, his temperament and invisible aura were enough to compete with Chi-Hu. You! Chi-Hu's eyes twitched fiercely and became extremely cold. If he waited for the holy beast realm experts of the dark, heavenly Tiger clan to come, he was afraid that they would not put him in their eyes. He would be lucky if they did not cause trouble for him. No fighting is allowed in the city. This is the rule of the Baifeng clan. Is the Baifeng clan going to ignore this matter? How could Chi-Hu swallow this insult? That was the descendant he valued the most. Moreover, if there was no conclusion to this matter, the four-winged demonic snake clan would not be able to raise their heads. Senior Chi-Hu, this matter has already happened. The Baifeng clan will not ignore it. But as far as we know, it was Chi-Yu who took liberties with Little Tiger's battle servant first, which led to the fight. In the main hall, the patriarch of the Baifeng clan spoke. At this moment, he was still dignified among the holy beast realm experts. Just taking liberties with a battle servant and directly killing my descendant. The dark, heavenly Tiger clan is so overbearing. Do you not put the four-winged demonic snake clan and the entire beast alliance in your eyes? Chi-Hu said in a deep voice. Senior, you don't have to involve the entire beast alliance. Not just anyone can take liberties with the battle servant of the dark, heavenly Tiger clan. Taking liberties with the battle servant of the dark, heavenly Tiger clan, the four-winged demonic snake clan, is not putting the dark, heavenly Tiger clan in your eyes. Are you provoking the dark, heavenly Tiger clan? Hu Pao said, tit for tat. Chi-Hu was stunned again, as if he did not expect Hu Pao to be so sharp-tongued. Many people around laughed secretly. Chi was clearly unlucky. If they had known that this guy was from the dark, heavenly Tiger clan, they would not have dared to provoke him. Well, this matter cannot be decided yet. Chi-Hu, at this time, the Baifeng clan will naturally give you an explanation. However, you are an elder, and there are only a few juniors in the dark, heavenly Tiger clan. If we make a decision now, it is inevitable that some people will say that we are bullying the young. So, let's wait for the people of the dark, heavenly Tiger clan to come before making a decision. The red-haired elder, who had been sitting in the main seat, spoke. His deep eyes swept across the main hall and fell on Du Xiaofu intentionally or unintentionally. Hearing this, Chihu's face suddenly became gloomy. This was clearly saying that he was bullying the young. Everyone could hear that the Baifeng Divine Bird Clan was obviously biased towards the Dark Heavenly Tiger Clan. Everyone knew that the Baifeng Divine Bird Clan and the Dark Heavenly Tiger Clan had always been on good terms. When the experts of the Dark Heavenly Tiger Clan arrived, there would be no way for him to explain himself. At that time, he would be the unlucky one. But now, Chihu was helpless. The Baifeng Divine Bird Clan was not someone he could provoke. The four-winged demonic snake clan could not afford to provoke them. The password for Xiao Yu's original WeChat account cannot be found. The new WeChat account is called Yufeng Deity. Please add the new account. The situation in the book is usually posted on the account. Thank you. Chihu, we will talk about your matter later. Let's get down to business first, Luo of the Roal clan said. He kept his eyes on Du Xiaofu and secretly spied on Du Xiaofu with his mind. He seemed to want to see through Du Xiaofu. He said, "Aren't there a few battle servants? Why is there only one?" Everyone's gazes fell on Du Xiaofu's body. The middle-aged patriarch of the Baifeng clan and Jiao O also fixed their eyes on Du Xiaofu. I alone am enough. They all listen to me anyway. Du Xiaofu looked at Luo indifferently. The primordial spirits of the old man and the others had been spying on him secretly. But he was not afraid. Du Xiaofu was not afraid of the sacred beasts in the hall. They could not spy on him. But after hearing Du Xiaofu's words, many people around were moved. This battle servant seemed to be different. You are the one who defeated many people yesterday and defeated a sovereign battle servant of the immortal realm? Beside Luo, an old man in a golden robe stared at Du Xiaofu and asked. He was not tall, but he gave off an extremely strong feeling. When the old man asked such a question, the atmosphere in the hall was obviously shaken. Qinglong's dark brown eyes shone with a cold light. The battle servant was obviously tricking him. Luo Shang was slightly moved, but she did not have much of a reaction. Qinglong and the two middle-aged men in front of Luo Shang were also looking at Du Xiaofu, as if they were trying to figure something out. That's right, Du Xiaofu replied without much of a reaction. The old man in a golden robe was from the gold-devouring rat clan. He had chased after Du Xiaofu not long ago, and Du Xiaofu could not forget that. In the hall, many people were moved, including the sacred beasts. Everyone had heard that the battle servant had won dozens of battles in a row yesterday. In the end, he had defeated Luo Shang's sovereign battle servant and won many sacred medicines, sacred weapons, ancient blood essence, half-sacred medicines, and other treasures. This was enough to move everyone present. Jiao opened his mouth again and asked Luo, you suspect that the battle servant is the young man who killed your descendant, Luo Yu. Now that you have seen him, is he the young man? The battle servant's aura is very strange. I can't see the result. Luo's face changed slightly. In front of Jiao, he seemed to be quite wary. He looked at Du Xiaofu. He had been secretly spying on him, but the battle servant was too mysterious and he could not see anything. Hence, it aroused his suspicion. What are you going to do? Are you suspecting that my Baifeng clan has joined forces with that human to kill your descendant? Jiao said faintly. There was a faint green and red light fluctuating in his eyes and a faint blazing aura spreading out. Of course not. It's just that I have seen that human boy before. He is too cunning. I am afraid that the Baifeng clan's descendant has been tricked by him. Let's find out the truth, Luo said. He could not help but be wary of Jiao. You have seen the battle servant. The other two are ladies. They are definitely not the people you are looking for. Jiao said faintly. Dezhong, continue writing. Chapter 2300. The Baifeng clan naturally has nothing to do with the human youth. I'm just guessing that the human has bewitched the younger generation of the Baifeng clan. The younger generation of the Baifeng clan had interacted with the human youth before. Perhaps they can find some clues about the human youth, said the Roal. He would not give up. He had to get to the bottom of this. How else do you want to investigate? Said Jiaoxia. Lord Jiaoxia, let me investigate the primordial spirit of this battle servant. Everything will be clear when the time comes. That human youth and Lu Limo of the human race appearing in the territory of the Beast Alliance must be up to something. If we can find the whereabouts of the human youth, we can help the Beast Alliance find a hidden danger, said the white-haired old woman who had been silent. She was also wary of Jiao Xie and was very respectful. Searching the primordial spirit of an ordinary battle servant is naturally no problem. However, this battle servant is not ordinary. The middle-aged clan leader of the Baifeng clan said, "This battle servant could defeat a sovereign battle servant. How could it search the primordial spirit of such a battle servant?" Clan leader Zhao Huang, there is no need to worry. My lightning demonic snake clan has some methods. We only need to search the primordial spirit of the battle servant and will not harm his foundation, said the white-haired old woman. No. Hearing this, Hu Pao said, "This battle servant was Little Tiger's battle servant. How could he believe that searching the primordial spirit of the battle servant would not harm him?" Everyone knew that searching the primordial spirit of the battle servant would harm a cultivator. It would affect his future cultivation. This battle servant who could defeat a sovereign battle servant had a bright future ahead of him. How could he allow his primordial spirit to be searched? This is a big matter for the Beast Alliance. Hu Pao, it is not your place to speak. Even if the elders of your clan come, it will be the same. Such a voice came from the middle-aged man who was sitting in front of Luoshang. His gaze swept past Hu Pao, then he looked at Jiao Xie and smiled. "Brother Jiao Xie, this matter concerns the Beast Alliance. If the human race is really plotting something, we cannot be careless. The methods of the lightning demonic snake clan will not affect the primordial spirit. Let's search the primordial spirit of this battle servant so that everyone can be at ease and not give the human race any chance to take advantage of this." Hu Pao was speechless. The clan leader Jiao Xie clan's clan leader Jiao Xie had not arrived. Yao Xiu's eyes moved. He didn't say anything, as if he was thinking about something. "Brother Jiao Xie, this battle servant doesn't seem to be from the Baifeng Divine Bird clan. From what I know, the origin of this battle servant is mysterious. It's best that we investigate it thoroughly. If we can find any information about that human young man, it will naturally be good. If we can't find anything, it will also be a good thing," the middle-aged man in front of Qing Long said faintly. Du Xiaofu didn't say anything and just stood there quietly. When he heard the two middle-aged men from the Heaven Flame Phoenix tribe and the 8 Desolation Demon Dragon tribe speak, he raised his eyes slightly and looked at them. These two weren't good people. As the two powerhouses from the 8 Desolation Demon Dragon and the distant Sky Flame Phoenix spoke, the atmosphere in the hall began to fluctuate. The 8 Desolation Demon Dragon clan and the remote Sky Flame Phoenix clan are clearly doing this on purpose. Their battle servants were all defeated yesterday, so they want to search for their battle servants' primordial spirits and destroy their foundation. Among the dark Heavenly Tiger clan, a young man whispered, but after being glared at by Hu Pao, he did not dare to speak again. "Battle servant, do you have any objections?" On the seat of honor, Jia Qi, who was sitting upright, spoke at this moment, also looking at Du Xiaofu. "I have no objections. Whoever wants to search my primordial spirit can do so," Du Xiaofu said with a calm expression. Hearing this, everyone's eyes were secretly surprised. Jia Qi, Jia Huang, and the others were also secretly puzzled. "Think carefully." Bai Ruyan, who was at the side, secretly reminded Du Xiaofu with a look. After searching the primordial spirit, it would be a great loss to the primordial spirit. Moreover, if this group of people were to do something bad, their life and death would be at the mercy of others. You have to think carefully. Searching the primordial spirit is no small matter. If you don't want to, maybe you can think of other ways. Jia Qi looked at Du Xiaofu, and a light flashed in his eyes, reminding Du Xiaofu, "It's just searching the primordial spirit. If it can prove my innocence, then it's fine." Du Xiaofu nodded and was very sure. "If that's the case, then let's begin." The middle-aged 8 Desolation Demonic Dragon clans, middle-aged Saint Beast Realm expert spoke, afraid that Du Xiaofu would go back on his words. As his voice fell, the white-haired old woman from the Demonic Lightning Snake clan stood up. On her aged face, there was a faint flicker of lightning in her eyes. She released a chilling aura that was very frightening. "Battle servant, I will search your primordial spirit. Don't stop me, otherwise there will be a great disaster." The white-haired old woman walked out, stopping in front of Du Xiaofu and said, "All of you, back off." Du Xiaofu said to Bai Ruyan, "Jia Qi, and Hu Pao," then looked at the white-haired old woman in front of him. After killing Lu Yu, the Shadow Lightning Demonic Snake Clan seemed to have killed several big snakes, but they didn't care whether they were Shadow Lightning Demonic Snakes or not. Then, Du Xiaofu's eyes were calm, and he nodded at the white-haired old woman, saying, "Let's begin. Remember, don't stop me." The white-haired old woman spoke with a domineering aura. She formed seals with her hands, and her eyes flickered faintly with the glow of lightning. After that, an arc of lightning flashed out from the center of her brows, and it was accompanied by a type of strange talisman markings. It was like a bolt of lightning that instantly flashed towards the center of Du Xiaofu's brows, and it was accompanied by a strand of peerlessly vast beast soul energy that suddenly swept out within the hall. Everyone stared at it. The arc of lightning directly swept into Du Xiaofu's forehead and disappeared. At this moment, a chill spread out from Du Xiaofu's calm eyes, and a sneer appeared at the corner of his mouth. At the same time, a strange mysterious rune suddenly spread out from Du Xiaofu's eyes. Suddenly, it was as if there were tens of thousands of rays of light sweeping out. The mysterious rune light overlapped, and with lightning speed, it instantly shot towards the white-haired old woman's eyes. At the same time, a silver-gold arc of lightning flashed out from between Du Xiaofu's eyebrows, and it directly swallowed and destroyed the white-haired old woman's primordial spirit. The white-haired old woman seemed to have felt something, but at this moment, her eyes were lifeless for no reason. Only her pupils suddenly dilated, as if she felt great fear. This unforeseen event happened too quickly, and everything happened in a flash. At the same time, Du Xiaofu stretched out his arm, and a golden light flashed like golden lightning, directly locking the white-haired old woman's neck. "How dare you!" A loud shout shook the hall, and the middle-aged man from the Sky Flame Phoenix clan disappeared from his seat. Like a flash of lightning, a palm print directly slapped towards Du Xiaofu. Boom! A blazing and powerful aura shook the entire hall as if it was on the verge of collapse. This palm print penetrated Du Xiaofu's body, and the void was also shaken until it was distorted. However, as Du Xiaofu's body shattered in the void, there was no trace of blood. Instead, he disappeared. Only a figure from the side had already flashed out of the hall like a flash of lightning. Chase. The middle stage holy beast from the Eight Directions Demon Dragon clan also disappeared from his seat. He followed the middle-aged man from the Sky Flame Phoenix clan, who had just attacked, out of the hall like a flash of lightning. Chase. Following closely, the Luo Yi, the golden-robed elder from the Goldbiter Rat clan, and Qi, whose expressions changed as they hurriedly chased after him. In the hall, everyone was still in a daze, and no one had realized what had happened. Everything happened too quickly, so quickly that most of the people present did not see it clearly. Qinglong, Bai Ruyan, Xie, and the others were all surprised, and even they did not see it clearly. The little tiger had a smile at the corner of his mouth, and there was a faint coldness in his deep, dark eyes. So what if you are in the holy beast realm? Ordinary holy beasts are no match for the third young master. Searching for the third young master's primordial spirit is the same as seeking death. On the seat of honor, Xie's expression changed, and he disappeared immediately. Swoosh, swoosh. In an instant, many figures flew out of the hall. The sun rose, shining on the big city, and it was dazzling. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, such a mighty aura shook the void, and the earth and mountains shook, startling all the living beings. Swoosh, swoosh. Many figures flew out, and many gazes were fixed on the place where the shocking movement came from. There was already a monstrous light, and the aura was so vast that it shook one's soul. In the square, "It's a holy beast realm expert," someone said in shock. It was a holy beast realm expert who had attacked. The square was vast, and the mysterious runes on the talisman flickered. It had been strengthened. Du Xiaofu stepped into the air, and his body was filled with golden light. An overbearing aura spread out, and his right claw grabbed the white-haired old woman's throat tightly, holding her in his hand like a little chick. At this moment, the white-haired old woman's face was filled with shock. She was unable to stop all this, and the pupils on her old face were shrinking. Blood kept flowing out of her mouth, and her beast soul was severely injured. At this moment, only the white-haired old woman herself knew what she had just suffered. Originally, she wanted to check the other party's primordial spirit, but when her beast soul entered his mind, her beast soul suddenly felt as if it had provoked a huge supreme being, and it was instantly destroyed. At the same time, she was swept by a terrifying primordial spirit attack. Her cultivation was in the early stage of the holy beast realm, and she was an absolute expert in the entire beast alliance. However, at that moment, she was like an ant, and she was filled with a deep sense of powerlessness. Then, she was restrained. You're not a battle servant, you're also a holy. At this moment, when she was restrained, the white-haired old woman seemed to feel something, and a terrifying shock surged from the depths of her eyes. How could this be a battle servant? The other party was clearly a holy beast realm expert. She went to search for the primordial spirit of a cultivator at the same cultivation level as her without much precaution, and he was even a spiritual talisman master at that. She was clearly courting death. However, under Du Xiaofu's suppression, she was suppressed by the restriction and couldn't speak. Whoosh whoosh. 5 figures rushed into the void of the square, and 5 mighty auras shot into the sky, shaking the surroundings and the vast void. If you dare to take a step forward, I'll destroy this old snake first, Du Xiaofu said, and lifted the white-haired old woman in his hand. Golden light shot out from his eyes, and the corner of his mouth curved into a cold smile. The 5 figures stopped, and 5 powerful auras of the holy beast realm locked onto Du Xiaofu. They were the Luo Yi, Qi Hu, the golden-robed old man from the Goldbiter Rat clan, and the 2 middle-stage holy beast realm experts from the 8 Desolation Demon Dragon clan and the distant Sky Flame Phoenix clan. The faces of the 5 holy beast realm experts turned ugly. A holy beast realm cultivator was actually being suppressed and held hostage right under their noses. In the main hall, figures rushed out one after another, with Xie Qi leading the way. The Baifeng Divine Bird Clan's patriarch, Xie Huang, was shocked. Hu Pao, Luo Shang, Qing Long, and the other experts of the various clans chased out of the main hall. When they saw the scene in the void, they were all dumbfounded, unable to recover from their shock. That was a holy beast realm expert from the Dark Lightning Demonic Snake clan. At this moment, she was suppressed by the human's restriction and was lifted like a chick. How shocking was this? Bai Ruyan and Xie Qi looked at each other. Whoosh whoosh. In an instant, figures rushed over like lightning. The commotion was so great that it shocked the entire city. The Beast Alliance conference was imminent. At this moment, the city was filled with a sea of people. The experts of the various clans of the Beast Alliance had gathered. Holy Beast Realm Expert, Sacred Ancestor Feng AI of the distant Sky Flame Phoenix clan, Sacred Ancestor Long Qi of the 8 Desolation Demonic Dragon clan is also here. Sacred Ancestor DD of the Ro Owl clan, DU's great-grandfather. Why is he here too? Sacred Ancestor Qi Hu of the 4-winged Demonic Snake clan is here. He must be here because of Qi Yu's death yesterday. Why is a Sacred Ancestor of the Goldbiter Rat clan here too? The figures in the air attracted a large number of people. Looking at the figures in the void, it caused a commotion. Some beast kings who recognized the holy beast realm experts exclaimed in surprise. In the front of the crowd, Zhanlan, Xin Tu, Xiaogu, Xiaoyao, and the other supreme geniuses also appeared. They were inwardly shocked by the scene in front of them. Why is it him? It's that battle servant. He suppressed a holy beast realm expert. Xin Tu was shocked. His back was slightly hunched, and his eyes were filled with shock. Look, that guy seems to be the mysterious battle servant who defeated Luo Shang's supreme battle servant yesterday. Someone exclaimed, recognizing Du Xiaofu. The battles yesterday were still vivid in everyone's minds, unforgettable. Brat, let go of the person in your hand. Otherwise, you're dead. Feng AI of the distant Sky Flame Phoenix clan shouted. His voice was like the cry of a phoenix, able to penetrate the clouds and crack stone. The clouds in all directions moved, and a vast aura spread out. Under this aura, all the beasts in the square trembled in fear, not daring to speak again. What a joke. This old snake wants to search my origin spirit. Why should I let him go? Du Xiaofu looked straight at Feng Ai. Since he was about to be exposed, what was there to be afraid of? He exerted some force in his claw, and golden light surged, covering the white-haired old woman's body. Boom! A cold aura immediately swept out from the white-haired old woman's body. Lightning arcs fluctuated, dazzling and resplendent, as if they were accompanied by lightning and thunder. Then, under the shocked gazes of everyone, the white-haired old woman instantly transformed into an old snake the size of an arm and about 10 feet long in Du Xiaofu's claw. The old snake's body kept twisting. His entire body was resplendent and filled with lightning. The cold aura was terrifying, but it was suppressed. A holy beast realm expert of the Dark Lightning Demon Snake Clan. Xiaoyao raised her eyes. Her tight clothes made the curves of her lower body rise and fall. Her pitch-black eyes rippled violently. That was a holy beast realm expert of the Four-Winged Demon Snake Clan. At this moment, he was restrained in the hands of the battle servant. How could she remain calm? Brat, do you want to die? Seeing that the human did not take him seriously at all, Feng Jin's expression turned completely gloomy. A blazing aura surged out and became restless. The surrounding void began to quietly distort. If you dare to attack, I'll destroy this old snake. Golden light flashed in Du Xiaofu's eyes. He held the old snake in his hand and said, "It seems like no one cares about you, old snake. They can't wait for you to die." Old Snake's fierce eyes widened in shock. He seemed to want to say something, but he was completely suppressed and couldn't speak. Looking at Du Xiaofu, Feng Jin really didn't dare to attack casually. Feng Jin didn't care about that old snake. Instead, under everyone's watchful eyes, if that old snake died at the hands of that brat because of his actions, the Dark Lightning Demonic Snake Clan would probably blame him. The distant Sky Flame Phoenix Clan naturally didn't have to worry about the Dark Lightning Demon Snake Clan. However, the Beast Alliance meeting was imminent, and there were important matters to attend to. It wasn't appropriate to cause trouble at this time. Brat, who exactly are you? Luo Yi's gaze was fixed on Du Xiaofu. That familiar aura gave him a sense of familiarity. Can't you recognize me? Try again. As soon as Du Xiaofu finished speaking, light flickered on his body. His body squirmed and transformed into a thin young man. It was the appearance he had transformed into with the disguised divine art. He had once been pursued by Luo Yi and the other two. Brat, it's you. When Du Xiaofu transformed into that appearance with the disguised divine art, the expressions of the golden-robed elders from the Luo Yi and Goldbiter Rat clan changed drastically. The combat servant in front of them was actually the human youth who had killed their descendant. What's going on? Everyone was stunned and tongue-tied when they saw Du Xiaofu's change in appearance. It's him. He's the one who killed Luo Yu. So he's the one who killed Luo Yu in one move. Amidst the shock, some living beings could not help but exclaim. Back then, they were also in the valley and saw everything from afar. It was that human youth who killed one of the top 10 experts of the Beast Alliance, Luo Yu, in one move. He was incomparably ferocious and massacred everyone. He's the one who killed Luo Yu. Zhanlan, Xiaoyao, Qinglong, Xin Tu, Bai Ruyan, and Xiexi's expressions changed as well. It was a huge blow to them. Even Feng Jin and Long Qi were somewhat surprised. This human actually had such a method. He changed so much that they couldn't detect any abnormalities. This was very terrifying. Bastard, you won't be able to escape this time. Luo Yi roared angrily. The last time this brat escaped, he had searched bitterly for him. After finding some clues, he had chased him all the way here. This time, he definitely couldn't let him go. You killed my descendant. Brat, you're dead meat. Let's see where you can escape this time. The golden-robed elder from the Goldbiter Rat clan shouted, his eyes suffused with golden light. If the young can't do it, the old will do it. What can you do to me? Du Xiaofu held Old Snake in his hand. He was not afraid of Luo Yi and Old Snake at all. Brat, this is the Beast Alliance. If you dare to kill an expert of our Beast Alliance, you will suffer a fate worse than death, Luoyi said angrily, his face surging with killing intent. This human youth had killed his most valued great-grandson and was still so arrogant. He definitely couldn't let him go. Boom. As soon as Luoyi finished speaking, his crimson robe fluttered as a bloody aura filled the air, enveloping the entire plaza and spreading in all directions. Creatures with lower strength would have already gone limp, and their souls trembled under the baleful aura of this level. I hate it when people threaten me the most. Then I'll kill this old snake and see what you can do to me. The 2 chapters combined into 1 chapter has been completed today. Chapter 2301. Du Xiaofu's eyes darkened as he spoke coldly. When his voice fell into the enlightening demonic snake's ears, a chill of fear emanated from the depths of its beast soul and spread throughout its entire body. Then, before Old Snake could put up any resistance, a domineering and sharp force surged into his body like a tidal wave through the 7 inches of his body that had been restrained. Bang! Bang! Under everyone's watchful eyes, a golden light shot out from Du Xiaofu's hand, and an unparalleled domineering force surged out. With a muffled bang, the space under his claw exploded, and the enlightening demonic snake shattered inch by inch, turning into a bloody mist. It had to be said that this enlightening demonic snake was very unlucky. In the beginning, it had searched for Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit with the power of its beast soul without much precaution. It had to be known that the power of Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit was definitely not inferior to that of his physical body. The power of the enlightening on its body was completely useless against Du Xiaofu, and it was even suppressed by Du Xiaofu. In terms of strength and cultivation level, this enlightening demonic snake could not compare to Du Xiaofu, who was at the peak of the early stage of the Saint Realm. It was directly suppressed by the restriction and could not resist at all. At that moment, it was killed. A bloody mist filled the sky, and a resplendent bone with the power of thunder and lightning and several Qinquan bags appeared in Du Xiaofu's hand. An early-stage Saint Beast Realm cultivator's body and soul were destroyed. Everyone couldn't help but feel shocked. A holy Beast Realm expert had been killed just like that. This was one of the top experts in the world. Countless eyes looked up at Du Xiaofu in horror. Was this really a battle servant? He was so powerful. Xiao Gu, Qing Long, Xiao Yao, and the others trembled, and their eyes rippled violently. Back then, they had wanted to subdue that human youth as their battle servant, but now it seemed that they were far from having that strength. Feng Jin, Long Qi, Jiao Jiao, Jiao Huang, and Jiao Hu were also stunned. That human had actually killed a Saint Beast Realm cultivator of the enlightening demonic snake clan. Human, you're dead meat. When the demonic lightning snake exploded, the roe owl's face twitched. Finally, it couldn't help but roar. Its eyes were already ferocious. Blood chi that blotted out the sky and covered the earth surged out. Its body also expanded, turning into a huge roe owl. It was ferocious and emitted a bright light. Its eyes were bright, and its teeth were as sharp as saws. A pair of fleshy wings spread out. Its entire body was covered in dark red scales, which were the color of dried blood. Squeak! Almost at the same time, the golden-robed old man's body shone with boundless light and swelled, transforming into his true form of the gold-biter rat. The golden light was like a golden sun, and his aura was not much weaker than the aura of the roe owl. Oh! The roe owl's true form was the roe owl's body. The blood chi runes on the surface of its body swept out in all directions like a tsunami. Space trembled and the void rumbled. Blood chi surged and the roar was ear-piercing. It seemed to be able to penetrate the primordial spirit. Die, brat. Du Ye's demonic chi was ferocious, and his eyes were filled with anger. Blood chi surged in the sky, and his terrifying flesh wings spread out, shattering the void. Blood splattered everywhere, and the aura of an early-stage Beast Realm cultivator was released to the limit. He used his innate ability to attack Du Xiaofu. Kill. The Saint Beast Realm expert of the gold demonic rats also attacked at the same time. His voice was ear-piercing. He was not big, but the space around him collapsed. His sharp claws were like hooks, tearing through the pitch-black cracks in space, and he instantly grabbed at Du Xiaofu. These two Saint Beast Realm experts were very well coordinated. Since that brat could trick an expert of the Lightning Demonic Snake Clan, Du Yi and Du Yi did not let their guard down. The two of them joined forces to suppress the human. Boom! The two Saint Beast Realm experts attacked in an instant, and the entire city shook. The sky changed color, and a terrifying aura swept through the sky, as if it was going to shatter the heavens. The surrounding creatures who were not strong enough went limp, and even their souls trembled. Du Xiaofu's face darkened in the face of the two Saint Beast Realm experts' attack, but there was no fear in his eyes. A cold smile rose at the corner of his mouth. Instead of advancing, Du Xiaofu retreated. He shook his arm, and his 5 fingers curled slightly. Simple and direct. Amidst the eruption of golden light, the talisman runes on his fingertips suddenly swept out, tearing through space like lightning. Boom! At that moment, Du Xiaofu's aura was like a peerless beast that had completely awakened. It was domineering and fierce. Within the claw, the dazzling talisman runes wreaked havoc like golden lightning. It was as if a golden-winged rock was about to spread its wings and soar into the sky. Such a domineering and fierce aura erupted, and the surrounding gazes were immediately shocked. Such a domineering and fierce aura should not appear in humans. It could only exist in the bodies of the demon beast sovereigns. Under such a terrifying aura, the densely packed demon beast kings all felt their beast souls tremble. They wanted to crawl, as if they were facing a supreme king. Rip, rip. The terrifying claw was like a rock soaring in the sky. When such an oppressive aura descended, it instantly reached the roe deer in front of it. Its ferocious eyes were instantly filled with shock. Rip. But it was too late. The wing and claw had already collided. Golden light erupted from the claw, like countless golden lightning snakes sweeping out. With an incomparably domineering posture, it shattered the bloody light that filled the sky. Rip! An ear-piercing tearing sound rang out. The surrounding void shattered inch by inch, and 5 golden cracks spread out into the distance. Squeak! At this moment, the claw of the gold-devouring rat clan's Saint Beast had already reached Du Xiaofu's side. It tore through the void, and talisman runes erupted. It could crush everything. Du Xiaofu was already prepared. Just as the claw of the gold-devouring rat clan expert was about to reach him, his eyes suddenly shone with golden light. An incomparably domineering aura suddenly filled the air. He shook his left arm and condensed a fist. Roar! This fist was accompanied by the roar of a dragon and the trumpet of a divine elephant. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled in the void. The sky was vast and mighty. It swept out with an overbearing and domineering momentum and directly collided with the Saint Beast of the gold-devouring rat clan. Boom! The void exploded as if the universe was collapsing. The roar of a dragon and the trumpet of an elephant resounded. Roar! Squeak! Almost at the same time, 2 blood-curdling screams rang out. Above the collapsing void, under everyone's gaze, the roe deer's original body and the gold-devouring rat's original body fell directly to the ground, and the other was fiercely sent flying. Rip! Blood poured out like a rain of blood. One of the terrifying wings on the roe deer's original body was torn off at this moment. It was as if half of its body had been torn apart, and its internal organs were almost flowing out. Puff! The Saint Beast of the gold-devouring rat clan smashed into the square in the distance, causing the entire reinforced square to crack. The ground shook as if the mountains were shaking, and blood flowed out of its sharp mouth. The sharp claws of the Saint Beast of the gold-devouring rat clan had shattered inch by inch and turned into minced meat. White bones were eerie, and blood flowed everywhere. It was a tragic sight. Saint Blood poured out, but it did not disperse. These two people were also Nirvana Supremes. When they spat out Supreme's blood, it emitted a bright light and spread energy. Runes blazed and intertwined, reflecting on Du Xiaofu, who was above the void, making him even more ferocious. Du Xiaofu stepped into the air, holding the broken wing of the roe deer in his hand. It was dripping with blood and fluctuating with a bloody light, looking incomparably ferocious. The fighters in the square looked at the young man with fear and trepidation. Two Saint Beast experts had joined forces to attack at the same time, but in the blink of an eye, they had fallen into such a state. The whole square was deathly silent. They were so shocked that they could not recover from their shock. Violent ripples appeared in the eyes of Lao Huang and Lao Yi. Kill. Without any pause, as the roe deer's body fell, Du Xiaofu broke the wing in his hand and swooped down at the same time. Du Xiaofu was also secretly surprised. The roe deer's physical body was really not weak. It had broken a wing, but its body was not completely destroyed. It was truly an extraordinary physical body. At this moment, the roe deer was still deeply shocked. That terrifying aura was completely the aura of a supreme beast. Was the other party really a human? That terrifying aura and strength made him terrified, and his heart was bleeding with regret. If he had known, he would not have come looking for a beating. Not good, however. The roe deer's reaction was agile. When it saw Du Xiaofu swooping down, the murderous intent in his golden eyes made its beast soul tremble. Its ferocious eyes were malevolent and resentful. Even though its body was heavily injured, there was still an earth-shattering bloody aura soaring into the sky, forming a sea of blood around it. A roe deer's shadow rushed out, looking ferocious and terrifying. Du Xiaofu glanced at the roe deer's shadow, and his 5 fingers slightly bent again. The great rock's chaos-shattering claw burst out with a dazzling golden light, and a golden-winged rock's shadow soared into the sky, destroying the roe deer's shadow with a thunderous momentum. The claw mark tore through the void, tearing the sea of blood apart. The claw mark distorted the void, and an incomparably fierce and domineering momentum swept out. The supreme beast's pressure was like a storm, grabbing at the roe deer. The sea of blood churned, and the mysterious runes of the bloody light talisman crumbled inch by inch. The bloody aura instantly thinned, and the roe deer's ferocious eyes became more and more shocked. Under that terrifying aura, the claw mark rapidly expanded in its eyes, making it feel more and more powerless. An aura of death surged in its heart. Lord Fengjin, save me, save me. At this last moment, the roe deer's shrill cry resounded in the square. Hearing the roe deer's cry for help, Du Xiaofu's heart sank, and his murderous intent grew even stronger. Junior, how can I let you be so fierce? But at this critical moment, a gloomy voice sounded, and a lightning-like figure appeared beside the roe deer. Following the appearance of this figure, the surrounding void became incomparably hot. Sparks filled the air, and the void was completely distorted. An invisible spatial force also directly crushed Du Xiaofu's great rock's chaos-shattering claw. Distant Sky Flame Phoenix Clan. Fengjin. Du Xiaofu naturally knew who had interfered with this sudden change. This aura was much stronger than the roe deer's and was on a completely different level. This was the cultivation of a mid-stage holy beast. Qi. Fengjin appeared, his eyes suffused with blazing flames. In an instant, he used a vast force to crush Du Xiaofu's great rock's chaos-shattering claw. At the same time, he reached out and landed on one of the roe deer's wings, wanting to pull it out. Seeing that Fengjin wanted to save the roe deer, a cold light surged in Du Xiaofu's eyes. His body was instantly covered in purple-gold lightning, and purple-gold lightning arcs overflowed from his body. A vast and peerless aura suddenly spread out like a tide, and purple-gold lightning suddenly erupted from the claw mark. Boom! In an instant, a murderous aura swept out. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled in the sky. The domineering murderous aura shook the hearts of everyone present. Qi. Under the eruption of the purple-gold lightning, Du Xiaofu's claw mark shattered the surrounding void, and a large area of distorted void directly collapsed. You want to save it? Dream on. Du Xiaofu shouted in a deep voice. The claw mark broke through the crushing pressure and directly grabbed the roe deer's hind claw. Roar! The claw mark landed, and the roe deer cried out miserably. Oomph! Fengjin's eyes changed as a cold snort sounded from his throat. He ignored the roe deer's miserable cry and quickly retreated, wanting to pull it out. You can't save it, Du Xiaofu sneered. His voice was like thunder, and purple-gold lightning erupted violently from the claw mark. It was vast and destructive, and it was peerlessly murderous. A terrifying force of lightning spread out and surged into the roe deer's body, instantly engulfing it. My life is over. In an instant, the roe deer's ferocious eyes were filled with shock. Under its terrified gaze, its body started to collapse inch by inch, starting from its hind claw, and the terrifying power of lightning charged towards Feng Jin. Boom! Feng Jin's expression changed as he flicked his sleeve. Under the explosion of the resplendent crimson talisman runes, a vast force shook, and only then was it able to block the power of lightning. Bang! 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 On the square, a muffled sound rang out. The roe deer's body turned into nothingness and collapsed inch by inch. Even its beast soul couldn't escape. Feng Jin stood on the square with half of the roe deer's wing in his hand. His expression was extremely gloomy as he stared at Du Xiaofu and threw the half of the wing on the square. The gazes of everyone present trembled as they looked at the young man in the sky. He was wrapped in purple-gold lightning, and his killing intent was suffused. He was incomparably ferocious. Numerous bodies trembled, beast souls were palpitating, and origin spirits were trembling. Saint Realm, he's a Saint Realm expert. A living being spoke with a trembling voice. That combat servant was also a Saint Realm expert. Another Saint Realm expert has been lost. He's too ferocious. Some demon beast experts trembled uncontrollably. Another Saint Realm expert had been killed. That human was too ferocious. Lord Feng Jin couldn't even save him. Saint Realm, his true strength is at the Saint Realm. Numerous trembling voices started to rise and fall. They cried out in surprise as if they had just discovered a new continent. That mysterious combat servant was actually a Saint Realm expert. This bastard. How can a Saint Realm expert be so shameless? Suddenly, Zhanlan seemed to have thought of something. This fellow was a Saint Realm expert, but he had been hiding his strength yesterday and had completely tricked him. This is the most shameless Saint Realm expert I've ever seen, Xin Tu said. His eyes were filled with shock, but more than that, they were filled with anger. A dignified Saint Realm expert was actually so shameless that he had the nerve to trick them. We've been tricked. Xiao Gu's eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. He had also lost completely yesterday. Qing Long's expression was extremely gloomy. He gritted his teeth so hard that his mouth was about to bleed. He had been tricked. The demon beast kings who had been defeated yesterday had helpless expressions on their faces. How could there be such a shameless Saint Realm expert? He had actually hidden his strength and fought with the combat servant. He had even pretended to be heavily injured and was about to be exhausted. He had completely tricked them. This was too fucking shameless. So it's a Saint Realm expert. You have to pay the price for killing an expert of my beast alliance. Feng Jin looked at Du Xiaofu with flames in his eyes. He wanted to kill me first, so I killed him. This is very fair. Du Xiaofu looked at Feng Jin as the profound energy in his body surged rapidly. The middle stage of the Saint Beast realm was much stronger than the early stage of the Saint Beast realm. No matter what, you're dead meat today, Feng Jin said. In front of him, the former had still killed the roe deer. This was undoubtedly a heavy slap to his face. You alone don't seem to be enough. Du Xiaofu looked at Feng Jin and said indifferently, I hope your arrogance will allow you to have the corresponding strength. Otherwise, you will die a miserable death. Feng Jin's face was extremely gloomy. Actually, I really want to know how strong a middle-stage Saint Beast Realm expert can be, Du Xiaofu said. This was the truth. He really wanted to know how strong a middle-stage Saint Beast Realm expert was, so that he would have an idea the next time he met him. Crack, crack. As soon as he finished speaking, the bones in Du Xiaofu's body began to squirm again. Then, he returned to his true appearance. His black hair fluttered in the wind, and his face was resolute and determined. His tall and straight figure was still wearing that tight short shirt. His exposed skin emitted purple-gold lightning arcs, domineering and awe-inspiring. Boom! Golden light surged and purple lightning arcs fluctuated. Du Xiaofu no longer held back his cultivation at the peak of the early stage of the Saint stage. At this moment, Du Xiaofu wanted to test himself and fight. Chapter 2302. What kind of technique is this? Many people were surprised. He could actually change his appearance continuously, and even his aura could change. This technique was very terrifying. Is this his true appearance? Bai Ruyan looked at the tall and straight figure. His black hair fluttered slightly, fluctuating with purple-gold lightning arcs. His vast and mighty aura connected to the thunderclouds in the sky, shocking her heart. At this moment, Bai Ruyan completely understood in her heart. How could such a human be a battle servant? Xiao Yao raised his eyes, and his enchanting eyes rippled. No matter how many changes you have, you're still only at the early stage of the Saint Realm. Relying on such a small trick won't make you arrogant. When these words fell, Feng Jin's figure directly rushed out, and an incomparably blazing aura swept out in an instant. He waved his palm, and flames that filled the sky condensed at this moment, carrying a blazing aura that burned space and caused one's soul to wither. It slapped towards Du Xiaofu at lightning speed. Seeing the palm print floating over, Du Xiaofu's eyes suddenly raised. As the palm print condensed, a strange and violent energy fluctuation suddenly rippled. The energy fluctuation seemed to have materialized, and it instantly condensed into a dazzling palm print. Oh, war! This palm print condensed, and there was the roar of a dragon, tiger, sparrow, and turtle. The pressure surged through the sky. This was the profound Yellow Emperor's seal. With Du Xiaofu's current cultivation strength, condensing the profound Yellow Emperor's seal was no longer as strenuous as before. He condensed it directly. On the palm print, energy poured out like a flood. In an instant, Du Xiaofu waved his palm out in the face of the former's palm print that floated towards him. The primordial Yellow Emperor's seal swelled in the wind, accompanied by a destructive might that swept out abruptly. Everything was as fast as lightning. The two palm prints directly collided with each other. Runes shot out, and the sky rumbled. Gorgeous runes shot out, and terrifying energy ripples swept out like a huge wave. Violent and overbearing energy was released, and there was the roar of a dragon, tiger, sparrow, and turtle. Within the dazzling light, the phantoms of the four beasts, azure dragon, white tiger, phoenix, black tortoise, and black tortoise, appeared. There was also a blazing aura that erupted with a terrifying aura, accompanied by the terrifying might of the heavenly flame phoenix clan. This kind of collision caused the heavens and earth to tremble, and the surrounding beasts were horrified. Pung pung pung! A large area of the void was collapsing, and a huge void black hole was revealed. It was enough to send chills down one's spine and make one's soul tremble. Voila! A silhouette appeared. It was Xieli from the Bai Fong Divine Bird Clan. He was making a move. A blazing chi distorted the space around the square, blocking the aftershock of the attack. Otherwise, the creatures around the square would have suffered a huge impact, and many people would have suffered an unexpected calamity. Ding ding! Following that, two figures staggered back at the same time in the air. However, everyone was shocked to discover that Feng Jin was clearly pushed back a lot. He was actually at a disadvantage. Qi Hu, Xie Huang, Xieli, and Long Qi were all deeply shocked. That human at the early stage of the Holy Beast Realm had suppressed Feng Jin, who was at the mid-stage of the Holy Beast Realm. There was a huge gap between them, especially Long Qi. He originally wanted to attack together with him just now. With this human's cultivation and strength, the treasures they won yesterday were most likely with this human. If this kid was killed by Feng Jin, the treasures would probably fall into Feng Jin's hands. However, at this moment, Long Qi's heart trembled. Around the square, the surrounding creatures retreated one after another. The battle between Saint Stage experts was extremely terrifying. They had almost been affected by it just now. Everyone's eyes were still dazed. It was too shocking. That human youth was actually so powerful. The atmosphere in the entire square froze at this moment. There was wind, but it could not disperse this tense and frozen atmosphere. Du Xiaofu stepped into the air. His black hair fluttered, and his eyes were filled with shock. As expected of a mid-stage, Holy Beast Realm expert, even with his full strength and the power of his martial vein, he did not gain much of an advantage. If Feng Ji knew that Du Xiaofu was still not satisfied with him at this moment, he would probably be so angry that he would bleed. He was at the mid-stage of the holy beast realm, and his true form was a heavenly flame phoenix. He was actually suppressed by a human at the early stage of the holy beast realm in one move. How useless was this? Feng Jin stopped retreating and secretly clenched his fists. He felt an intense pain from the collision just now. Looking at that resolute face, his eyes that were as red as flames erupted with coldness. Brat, you are indeed extraordinary, but now, it's time to end this. Feng Jin spoke as he suddenly clenched his fist. Blazing flames spread out and transformed into an armor that seemed to overflow with flames that covered his entire body. A pair of wings spread out like the wings of a phoenix. Mysterious runes fluctuated as the cries of a phoenix faintly resounded. A mighty aura of the middle stage of the holy beast realm rose to the limit at this moment. Flame Phoenix Flying Armor, the protective technique of the Sky Flame Phoenix clan. A demonic beast expert muttered with surprise in his eyes. He didn't expect that Feng Jin would actually directly use the innate ability of the Sky Flame Phoenix clan when facing a human at the early stage of the Holy Beast realm. This Flame Phoenix flying armor was extraordinary. In terms of defense and speed, it could directly rise to a whole new level. In addition, the Sky Flame Phoenix clan's physical defense and speed were one of the most powerful existences among the beast clans. In addition to this Flame Phoenix flying armor, it was difficult for anyone at the same level to contend against it. It doesn't seem weak. It has the aura of the Phoenix clan. Du Xiaofu looked at the armor on Feng Jin's body. This technique was extraordinary. He also felt the aura of the Phoenix clan from it. The supreme pressure was very powerful. Brat, what other tricks do you have? The Flame Phoenix flying armor was set up. Coldness surged in Feng Jin's eyes. Blazing flames fluctuated around his figure. He flapped his wings, and his figure was like lightning. It was as if he had transformed into a human-shaped flame phoenix. With a terrifying momentum, he charged towards Du Xiaofu. Everywhere he passed, the void shattered silently. Then let's see whose armor is stronger. At the same time, an even more domineering aura swept out from Du Xiaofu's body and shot into the sky. Golden light bloomed, and feather-like rays of light surged out from his body. They instantly condensed into a magnificent golden armor that covered his entire body. The golden wings of the great Pong stretched out behind him, and golden light shone brightly. Gee, from the armor, the screech of the great Pong bird could be heard. It pierced through the clouds and cracked rocks. The domineering will of the great Pong bird clan had descended. At this moment, Du Xiaofu flapped his wings and soared into the sky. He was like a real human-shaped great Pong. He seems to be from the great Pong bird clan. Is he a human or a beast? In an instant, some demonic beast experts cried out in alarm. When that domineering will descended, their beast souls were trembling. Those who were not strong enough had already gone limp and prostrated themselves on the ground. Long Qi, Xie Jiao, Xie Huang, Xie Hu, and the others were shocked again. Their expressions were extremely stunned. Qila, Feng Jin arrived. He waved his hand like a claw, and it was sharp and dazzling. The blazing flame talisman markings spread out, and it carried the cry of a phoenix. It was so sharp that it pierced one's essence soul, and it almost pierced through one's essence soul. At this moment, Feng Jin's combat strength had risen by a level. Under this claw, even an expert of the same cultivation level would not dare to take it head-on. However, Du Xiaofu was fearless. He had absolute confidence in his cyan spirit armor and body. He spread his wings and flew into the air, directly colliding with Feng Jin's fist. Clang! Such a head-on collision erupted with dazzling talisman runes. Terrifying energy erupted from the claw and palm like a volcano. Dazzling light quietly filled the void. This was a battle of the physical body and also a contest of the two's combat strength. It was an absolute head-on collision. Qila, they separated upon contact. Du Xiaofu and Feng Jin were forced back at the same time. But this time, the wings on their backs spread and flapped, stopping their retreat at the same time. Feng Jin looked at Du Xiaofu. He felt the aura of a golden-winged rock. It was the aura of a true supreme beast, and it was definitely not something a human could possess. With his eyesight and strength, he could not tell if the person in front of him was a human or a golden-winged rock. However, this was not important. Feng Jin did not intend to let this brat in front of him go. He did not believe that he, who was at the mid-stage of the Holy Beast Realm, could not do anything to this early-stage Holy Beast Realm brat. Boom! Feng Jin's gaze was gloomy, and it was as if a sea of flames was surging. He attacked again, containing holy might. Endless pressure spread out and distorted the void. He flapped his wings and charged towards Du Xiaofu again, blazing and shattering the void. This was the might of a mid-stage Holy Beast Realm expert. Every move he made showed how terrifying a mid-stage Holy Beast Realm expert was. Du Xiaofu's eyes were cold. His entire body was filled with purple lightning arcs and covered by the thunder martial vein. He shook his arm and used the golden rock wings on his back to activate the shaking heaven wings, fiercely flapping them at the former. Golden light spread across the sky. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. The heavenly thunder didn't stop. Amidst the peerlessly domineering aura, there seemed to be a faint image of a golden-winged rock. Rumble. The two collided, and wind and thunder resounded. It was as if the universe had been turned upside down, and the void kept exploding, turning into chaos. The chaotic void made it difficult for Hu Pao, Lao Qi, and the others to spy on them. They could only see the two figures constantly bombarding each other at high speed, and muffled sounds kept exploding in the void. The talisman runes on Feng Jin's phoenix flying armor erupted, bringing with it the might of a saint stage expert. Amidst the monstrous flames, he attacked Du Xiaofu with all his might. Fight! Du Xiaofu was fearless. Lightning flashed and thunder rumbled as thunderclouds gathered. He used his thunder martial vein and green spirit armor to fight against the former. He was not at a disadvantage at all. Gee! The rock's cry pierced through the clouds and cracked rocks. Du Xiaofu was covered in purple lightning, and the feather armor on his green spirit armor seemed to have come to life like the feathers of a rock. They were like blades that were exceptionally sharp as they cut through the void. Relying on the azure spirit armor and the Great Pong golden wings, Du Xiaofu was like a real golden-winged Great Pong in human form. What he cultivated was also the cultivation technique of the golden-winged Great Pong race. It carried a domineering will, and his aura was incomparably awe-inspiring. Electric arcs rippled all over his body, and his feather armor was dyed purple gold, full of texture. The purple gold light was like a storm, and his attacks were wide open. Wind and thunder resounded, like the roar of thunder. At this moment, although Du Xiaofu had yet to step into the middle stage of the Saint Beast realm, the power erupting from his every move was not inferior to Feng Jin's at all. Too terrifying. Is that guy really just a human? The eyes of countless demon beast experts trembled, and they were so shocked that they were unable to recover from their shock. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, how could they believe that a human youth who had yet to step into the middle stage of the Saint Beast realm had the abnormal strength to contend against Feng Jin, who was at the middle stage of the Saint Beast realm? This was simply unbelievable.